To deal with my family pressuring me to get married, I spent 9 and 9/10 yuan online to find a girl and prepare for a fake marriage. Who would have thought that when we went to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register, the staff member would look at me with total contempt. You're already married, why are you still coming here to register? Don't you know what bigamy is? After walking out of the Civil Affairs Bureau looking at the marriage certificate that was just printed, I was a bit dazed. The girl next door was also totally blindsided. Mr. Lin, you're already married. Why did you waste money hiring me? Then, leaving behind a line about no refund for the deposit. She quickly ran away. I stood there totally dumbfounded on the spot. Not having processed things yet, for someone like me who hasn't even held a girl's hand, how could I already be married? I looked back at the printout. In my hand once again. The man in the ID photo was indeed me, and the woman's name was Shen Yusuo. She looked truly beautiful, but I didn't know her at all. Immediately after, I took out my phone to take a photo of it and sent it to an account with a black profile picture to help me check who she was. The other party replied, understood right away, suppressing the anxiety in my heart. I got on my old e-scooter and rode into the luxury villa area. Right after parking my scooter behind me, came the gossiping voices of the servants. Who is he? He looks so handsome. Don't talk nonsense. He's the illegitimate son not recognized by the Lin family. Back then, his mother carried a heavily pregnant belly straight to the door demanding a status. That woman really has a thick skin, finding all kinds of reasons to cling tightly to the Lin family and refusing to leave. That brat knows his place though. Ever since middle school, he already moved out to live. Don't know what's up today. I frowned, pretending not to hear, and walked straight into the living room. My mother, Ms. Liu Li, was waiting at the door. As soon as she saw me, she hurriedly pulled me upstairs. Follow me to find your older brother first. Oh, right. Did you get the marriage certificate? I calmly replied, got it. She said, that's good. You must remember your status. Shen is your older brother's fiancé. A super elite wealthy family like that is fundamentally not something an illegitimate son like you can climb up to. Only your older brother is worthy of her. A flash of mockery crossed my eyes. Shenxin had pursued me throughout all 4 years of college. Yet on the exact day of graduation, she ended up with my older brother, Linfan. Liu Li demanded that I find someone to marry immediately, to completely cut off any possibilities with Shenxin. Ever since I was little, whenever there was a conflict of interest between me and Linfan, she always forced me to yield unconditionally. I looked at her coldly and said, fine, this is the last time. This time was to pay back the debt of her giving birth and raising me. Liu Li, with an extremely impatient face, said, I know. We went to Lin Fan's room. He smiled and greeted Lin Wu. Why did you come here before I could even open my mouth? Liu Li cut in. Xiaofan Ling Wu got married today. Lin Fan showed a surprised expression. That fast? What kind of person is the other party? Is Shenxin okay? Liu Li quickly replied. How could that be? In this whole Haicheng, you won't find anyone with a higher status than the young lady of the Shen family. What kind of decent person could he find? Probably just some lowlife from the streets. He didn't even dare to bring her back here, fearing that poor wretched look would hurt your eyes. Lin Fan's voice was full of sarcasm. How could that be Lin? Wu is this handsome after all. Otherwise Sin wouldn't have pursued him for 4 whole years. What's the use of being handsome with a status like his is just some cheap trash met somewhere unknown who was willing to marry him. The young lady of the Shen family just treated him as a plaything to have some fun with. Only you. Your status is worthy of the young lady of the Shen family. Looking at the beauty and aura of the woman in the photo, there was no way she could be some lowlife, vagrantly roaming around. But I didn't bother to argue back. At this moment, Lin Fan had finished putting on his watch and was about to put on his shoes to go out. But finding the shirt too tight, making it inconvenient to bend over, he looked toward me with a smile. Liu Li immediately gave me a shove. You useless thing. Why are you still so bad at reading the room, huh? Your older brother is inconvenience. Why don't you hurry up and help him put on his shoes? My eyes turned cold. You can put them on for him yourself. Lin Wu, what kind of attitude is that? You think just because you got a wife, your feathers are fully grown now? In the future, won't you still have to rely on the Lin family? Liu Li roared even louder. If you don't worry about pleasing your older brother right now, there will come a day when you and your wife will have to kneel down and beg him. Besides, the Lin family raised you to adulthood. You should work like cattle and horses for the Lin family. Before I could even counter her, my father, Lin Zhenen, suddenly appeared at the door. An esteemed guest is about to visit. And you guys are still here bickering. What? Liu Li immediately started crying and complaining. Isn't it all because of this rebellious son? The exact day he got his marriage certificate, he already stopped respecting this mother of his? Lin Zhenen looked over at me. You're married? Why didn't you let the family introduce someone to you? Do you have the marriage certificate? Let me see it. Facing the concern of this unfamiliar father, paused for a moment, then took that print out from my pocket. The very next second, it was snatched away by Liu Li. Let me see what this bastard... What exactly is his wife's name? On the other side, Lin Fan curiously asked, Dad, who is coming? That's making you this tense. Lin Jenin. Thinking of that person, felt extremely honored. Then he excitedly uttered a name, Shen Yusuo. Hearing this name, I was stunned instantly. Lin Jenin, seeing our baffled expressions, proudly explained, It's normal that you guys don't know her. This person is very mysterious, and even I have never met her. She is Shen Xin's young aunt, only 28 years old. But she has already become the real power holder of the Shen family today. Liu Li blurted out instinctively. Then isn't she even more suitable than Shen Xin? The real power holder. That's definitely way stronger than the title of the eldest granddaughter. Of the main line, Lin Jenin said snappishly, What nonsense are you talking about? Mrs. Shen is already married. I narrowed my eyes. Already married? If the person on the marriage certificate really is her, then it seems Shen Yusuo knows exactly what is going on here. Liu Li was a bit disappointed. Who is her husband? To have better fortune than even our Xiaofan. Lin Chenan frowned in thought. I don't know. I heard that she and her husband both dislike social parties. I don't understand why she came to our door in person today. Liu Li asserted with absolute certainty. It's definitely because our Xiaofan is too outstanding, which is why the Shen family regards him so highly. After saying that, she stuffed the stack of documents that she hadn't had time to look at back into my hands and grabbed Lin Fan's hand with an incredibly excited face, not forgetting to throw a sarcastic remark. This display is even more devoted than the biological mother, Mrs. Lin. At this moment, the butler came upstairs, reminding them that the people from the Shen family were about to arrive. Hearing this, Lin Jenin hurriedly went downstairs. Walking past where I stood, he casually said, You haven't been home in a long time either. Have a cup of celebratory wine before you leave. I nodded along with it. I wanted to stay and see who on earth Shen Yusuo was. In the room, Liu Li looked at Lin Fan, the person who was about to marry the young lady of a wealthy family. In her eyes was an uncontainable joy. More than 20 years ago, if it hadn't been for the appearance of Mrs. Lin Li Xinya, the person to marry Lin Jenin could only have been Liu Li. She hated Li Xinya, so to get revenge on her, she gave birth on the exact same day as her. During that time, she swapped the two children at the hospital. Now her own biological son Lin Fan has become the young master of the Lin family, while I, the real young master, became the outcast illegitimate son. After going downstairs, I leaned into a dark corner next to the staircase, staring fixedly toward the entrance, silently waiting for the Shen family to arrive. Don't know how much time passed. The lady of the Lin family, Li Xinya, was helped downstairs by a servant. She wore a purple cheongsam, with a frail figure, exuding an elegant and intellectual vibe. The servant said softly, Madam, your health isn't good. Maybe you shouldn't come down here. Mrs. Lin coughed while shaking her head. No. For such an important day for Xiaofan, I cannot be absent. I looked at her departing back, my eyes filled with respect and gratitude. It's ridiculous to say, but in the Lin family, she was my only warmth. When I was little, Liu Li frequently starved me. Once Mrs. Lin happened to catch her. From then on, every single day she would go to the flower garden at the exact same time and leave some food for me. This went on for a full 12 years. If not for Mrs. Lin's kindness, perhaps I would have given up on myself long ago. Watching Mrs. Lin gradually walk away, hearing her coughing occasionally echo back, I furrowed my brows in worry. Right at this moment, a noise suddenly came from the door. The people from the Shen family had arrived. Lin Jenin and Mrs. Lin went to the door to welcome them. After a few pleasantries, they stepped aside as a large group of people grandly entered the hall. I immediately spotted Shen Yusuo. Her face was even more beautiful than in the photo. With a cold aura, she sharply noticed my scrutinizing gaze and suddenly looked over. That sharp gaze made my heart tighten. I wanted to pry further into the emotions in those eyes. But Shen Yusuo had already retracted her gaze and looked elsewhere, leaving me a bit confused. With this look of hers, does she actually know me or not? Lin Jenin smiled flatteringly. Miss Shen, where's your husband? Didn't he come with you? The moment those words were uttered, I felt like Shen Yusuo glanced at me once again. He is inconvenienced. Just like that, the crowd surrounded her and walked toward the living room. As for Shen Xin, the one who pursued me for 4 years, she also followed behind. Dressed in a formal gown, she looked way more mature and poised than during college. She didn't see me only idly chatting with Lin Fan, while I was standing there quietly. My arm was violently pulled by Liu Li. She lowered her voice and scolded. Lin Wu, what are you still standing here for? Could it be that you still haven't given up on Shen Xin? Let me tell you, she is your sister-in-law now. I shook her hand off, letting out a mocking smile. Rest assured, I have no interest in being a third party. It was Mr. Lin who asked me to stay for a cup of celebratory wine. Ever since I learned the truth, the way I addressed Lin Jenin has always been Mr. Lin. Liu Li gnashed her teeth in anger. That was just him being polite, and you actually took it seriously? I think you really don't know your place. On an occasion like today, even I can't do anything to embarrass the Lin family. Does a bastard like you think he gets to sit at the main table? Get the hell out of here right now. I knit my brows in impatience. Just as I was about to speak, I saw Shen Yusuo walking out to the balcony to take a call. I then ignored Liu Li, turned around, and followed her. Just as I approached Shen Yusuo while she was on the phone, she hung up. Then she looked at me with a cold gaze. My footsteps paused, facing her dangerous gaze. The corner of my mouth hooked up slightly as I tried calling out wife. Shen Yusuo's gaze instantly turned ice cold. I stared intently at Shen Yusuo to observe her reaction, but I saw that after hearing this address, the coldness she looked at me with was even more terrifying. Without a single ripple of emotion, she immediately turned around intending to leave. I quickly stepped forward to block her path. You don't recognize me, Shen Yusuo, looking down at me from above. Move aside. Should I know you, sir? I am married. Please respect yourself. I was a bit dazed. She clearly didn't know me yet. She said she was married. Could the Civil Affairs Bureau have registered the wrong information? May I ask who your husband is? None of your business. Hearing those 3 cold words again, I took out the copy of the marriage certificate and held it out in front of her. Miss Shen, the bride's side on here is surely you right. Shen Yusuo's gaze locked onto the groom's name. She said sarcastically, Mr. Lind, as an original print. It wouldn't be that expensive, right? If you're going to fake it, you should at least be professional. With that said, she didn't return to the living room, but strode straight from the small flower garden to the parking lot. I chased after her, wanting to clear things up, but was blocked by 2 bodyguards. Shouted toward her, retreating back, Miss Shen, this document is real. If you don't believe it, you can check with the Civil Affairs Bureau. Shen Yusuo got into her car and drove straight off. Her personal assistant stayed behind. When I returned to the living room, I ran right into Lin Fan. He happened to see me pestering her, his eyes flashing with a strange look while Lin Zhenan was sweating bullets. Why did Miss Shen leave already? Is there anywhere the family didn't entertain her properly? Lin Fan clenched his fists, his tone hesitant. I saw Lin Wu keeping tabs on Miss Shen. Miss Shen was very angry and left, even leaving a message behind. She said you should discipline your family members better. With Lin Wu acting like this, will the Shen family think our family lacks manners? Lin Zhenan's face instantly turned pale. Meanwhile, I was riding my e-scooter and ended up losing track of Shen Yusuo. Right when I was frustrated, my phone suddenly rang. I picked up, and a woman's voice came from the other end. The intel on Shen Yusuo has been found. Shen Yusuo is the second daughter of Master Shen. Rumor has it that she is cold-blooded and ruthless, which is why she was sent abroad since she was a child. Everyone actually thought the Shen family would pass the power to the eldest son, meaning into the hands of Shen Xin's father. Who would have thought Shen Yusuo suddenly returned to the country last week? Don't know what kind of iron-fisted methods she used to force the old man to abdicate, directly taking control of the Shen group. I got it. Look into her contact info and schedule. After that, I will go find her. Hanging up, rub my temples. This situation is a bit tricky now, with a status like Shen Yusuo's. Wanting to meet her is indeed not easy. I shouldn't have slipped up today by calling her wife and making her leave in a rage. Let out a sigh, started my junk scooter and slowly headed home. Leaving the bustling and lively downtown area, I arrived at an urban village in the suburbs. Back in middle school, when I moved out of the Line family, I didn't have much money on me, so I could only rent an old house here. Later on, I got used to it, so I never moved out. Turning the corner to get to my house, an old lady about 80 or 90 years old suddenly rushed out by the roadside. I hurriedly slammed on the brakes, almost hitting her. I thought I ran into an insurance scammer, but quickly noticed the old lady was dressed very neatly. Around her neck hung a tag with a contact phone number written on it. At the bottom of the tag, a note read, "If this elderly person is lost, please call this number. There will be a handsome reward." Clearly, the old lady has Alzheimer's. I immediately took out my phone to dial the number on the tag, but the dazed old lady in front of me suddenly grabbed my wrist tightly. Her eyes suddenly sharpened. "Grandson-in-law? You are my grandson-in-law?" 376, the corner of my mouth twitched. Single for 22 years. The corner of my mouth twitched. Single for 22 years. How did another wife suddenly spawn out of nowhere today? Finding it ridiculous, I casually asked Grandma, "What is your granddaughter's name? What are you laughing at, young lady?" "Oh, right. Her name is Shen." Shen what again? The name she just remembered. Just as she was about to say it, she forgot it again. The old lady was a bit flustered, her mouth constantly moving, but she couldn't utter those words for the life of her. "Grandma, don't worry. It's fine. If you can't remember." I comforted her, then made the phone call. At this time, on a street not far away, Shen Yusuo was sitting inside a Bentley, her expression gloomy, the subordinate. Lu Chang next to her didn't even dare to breathe heavily. It's because I didn't watch her well letting the old madam wander off. She said nothing, her entire body radiating a cold aura. The old madam was in a daze most of the time. Who would have thought she would suddenly become lucid today, dismiss everyone, and sneak out the door? Checking the surveillance cameras, they just discovered the old madam actually took a bus all by herself to the suburbs. This area is quite old and dilapidated, with many streets not even having surveillance cameras installed. We can only search by combing through every single meter of ground. Right at this moment, her phone suddenly rang. Shen Yusuo immediately picked up. My indifferent voice echoed from the other end of the line. Hello, your family member is currently in my hands. After hearing this, the atmosphere inside the car instantly froze. Everyone immediately took action. Someone prepared to call the police, while Liu Qiang was also tracing the signal of the incoming caller. Shen Yusuo's gaze was razor sharp, her voice cold. Just how much money do you want? Just kidding. I just wanted to remind you to take better care of your grandma in the future. After that, I gave the address and hung up. 5 minutes later, they arrived at the old lady's location, but I had already left long ago. Only a police officer was standing there waiting with the old lady. Shen Yusuo asked, Grandma, why did you come all the way here? The old lady had a secretive look on her face. I came to find my grandson-in-law. He lives right near here. Shen Yusuo paused. Grandma, how could you have a grandson-in-law? No way. I just met him. That heartless brat. He handed me over to the police and just left immediately. Oh, right. Give me your phone for a second. Shen Yusuo handed her phone to her. The old lady then took the phone number that had just called earlier from the call history and wrote it down in a small notebook. She was overjoyed. Finally got my grandson-in-law's contact info. Early the next morning, I received a phone call from Professor Wen, my advisor at the university. As soon as I stepped into the office, I saw Lin Fan and Liu Li were also there. Lin Fan and I both studied at Haicheng University. He always claimed to be an elite student, while I, in order not to outshine his spotlight, had intentionally chosen the most obscure major, energy and power engineering. But who would have thought that 2 years ago, the new energy sector would suddenly boom? Lin Fan immediately transferred departments, becoming my classmate again. Lin Fan being here could still be considered normal, but why was Liu Li here? Just as I thought of that, I saw Professor Wen with a serious face. Lin Wu, your spot for direct admission to grad school has been cancelled. Your mother said your moral character and background are not upright, making you unsuited for the direct admission requirements. Is there some misunderstanding between you and your mother? Hurry up and apologize to her. Your future is very bright. Don't let a moment of hot-headedness ruin your prospects. Lin Fan sighed. Professor Wen Lin Wu's mother is also just doing this for his own good. He turned to look at me. You've offended Miss Shen. Miss Shen has already dropped a hint that she wants you to disappear from Haicheng. I was dazed for a long time before understanding. The Miss Shen he was talking about was exactly Shen Yusuo, but I had only spoken a few words to her. Furthermore, when she left yesterday, she didn't look like she was angry at all. On the contrary, Lin Fan was the one who was a pathological liar. While I was deep in thought, Lin Fan stepped up in front of me. Lin Wu, this is a plane ticket Dad bought for you. He wants you to go abroad to take refuge for a while. Otherwise, even the Lin family won't be able to protect you. A flash of mockery crossed my eyes. Isn't it just being afraid that I'll involve the Lin family? Seeing that, I didn't take it. Lin Fan took out a bank card again. Are you worried about not having living expenses abroad? There's 50,000 yuan in here. This is my personal pocket money for you. Just take it and use it for now. Later, when I have allowance, I'll give you more. The grand young master of the noble Lin family can only afford 50,000 yuan. I found it hilarious. Right at this moment, Liu Li suddenly snatched the bank card away. Lin Fan, what are you doing? The Lin family being willing to buy a plane ticket for him is already doing more than enough. She glared at me and ordered, you pack up your things and go abroad right now. I've already processed the withdrawal paperwork for you. I looked at her coldly. What right do you have to decide for me? Based on the fact that I am your mother, furthermore, with that academic performance of yours, graduating would be hard anyway. Might as well go out to do manual labor and make money early. Professor Wen couldn't help but speak up. Lin Wu's mother, you've misunderstood him. Mr. Lin, before he could even finish his sentence, he was directly cut off by Liu Li. Professor, you don't need to put in a good word for him. What kind of person he is? Could it be that I don't know clearly? He wants to go to grad school just because he saw Lin Fan doing it, so he's just copycatting? He really doesn't know how to look in a mirror to check himself, to see what kind of trash he is. What right does he have to compare himself to Lin Fan? Professor Wen was choked up. He looked at Lin Fan in surprise. I remember you didn't get a spot for direct admission, nor did you take the grad school entrance exam. Lin Fan let out a humble smile. I'm going through the special recruitment program, sir. Seeing the professor's confusion, he pretended to be modest. It's all thanks to Dr. Wu, the one researching clean energy. His Hana-style catalyst succeeded, got patented, and he was awarded the title of doctor. I was secretly astonished. Dr. Wu, how come I didn't know I was planning to specially recruit Lin Fan to repay the care of the Lin family? Over the years, I had always used the pseudonym Dr. Wu to provide technical support to the Lin family's company, even weaving an identity as a sponsored individual. Lin Fan continued to make up stories. Back then, my mother sponsored Dr. Wu's education. So after making it big, Dr. Wu came looking for my family, saying my mother is his life-saving benefactor. All these years, he has always provided technical support to my family's company. Surely, he won't refuse any request of mine. Professor Wen took it as fact and asked where Dr. Wu was. He pointed at me and said, "The dean will invite Dr. Wu to our school to teach." Professor Wen was overjoyed and said to me, "Lin Wu, your research direction is the same as Dr. Wu's. When the time comes, I will recommend you to him. If Dr. Wu is willing to say a word for you, perhaps there's still hope for the direct admission to grad school." Lin Fan pretended to be worried. "Professor Wen, is it really okay to do that? The Shen family is the wealthiest clan in Haicheng. Every year they pour a lot of research funding into our school. Dr. Wu is currently highly sought after. If Dr. Wu is willing to step up, the school will definitely choose Dr. Wu." Lin Fan sighed and said, "But Dr. Wu is doing this for my mother's sake. If it were me, he would definitely go all out to help. But Lin Wu is my dad's illegitimate son and his stance is opposite to my mother's. Lin Wu, how about I go ask Dr. Wu to help you?" I smiled coldly and refused. Lin Fan right now was no different from a dancing clown. I said to Professor Wen, "Professor Wen, you know, originally I didn't even want to go to grad school." Liu Li curled her lips. "Don't waste your breath, you've offended the young lady of the Shen family, yet you still want to find a job in Haicheng. Keep dreaming. I don't believe someone can completely cover the sky with one hand in this Haicheng. If you really can't find a job, then come work as a teaching assistant. For me," Professor Wen said angrily. He turned his head to look at me in a gentle manner, warming my heart. "Professor, between me and Miss Shen, it's just a little misunderstanding. It'll be fine once it's explained clearly. You don't need to worry, sir." Seeing this, Lin Fan clenched his fist tight. He said in a sarcastic tone, "Lin Wu, could it be that you're still planning to go pester Miss Shen? She is already married. It's really not good for you to do that." As expected, Liu Li flew into a furious rage. The next second, she swung her hand and slapped me straight across the face. I looked at Liu Li in disbelief. I didn't expect her to dare to suddenly strike like this right in front of Professor Wen. Liu Li didn't feel guilty at all. She pointed at my nose and scolded, "Not seeing you for a few years. I see you've completely forgotten the house rules. Hurry up and apologize to your older brother right now. Guarantee that from now on you will never see Miss Shen again." The warmth in my eyes gradually faded away, leaving only ice coldness. It seemed that she completely didn't care about my words from that last time, still treating me like that foolish child who always quietly endured everything and always put Lin Fan first. Huh? Since reasoning doesn't work, then don't blame me for showing no mercy. Lin Fan stood by the side watching. Then don't blame me for showing no mercy. Lin Fan stood by the side watching, feeling a surge of smugness in his heart. When we were kids, I always had to cower before him, getting scolded without talking back, and getting beaten without fighting back. Later, when I moved away and met him again in college, he clearly still had that same poor and lowly appearance, yet he actually dared to stand tall in front of me. He really hasn't been beaten for a few years, so he forgot the hierarchy and order. Today, just let Liu Li give him a lesson he'll never forget. Just as Lin Fan thought of that, he saw me slowly stepping up in front of him. Right when his lips curled into a smirk, thinking that I was planning to apologize to him, I suddenly raised my head and threw a heavy punch straight into his face. Lin Fan's head spun, his consciousness knocked into a daze. Liu Li roared and rushed toward Lin Wu. "How dare you hit him?" I coldly turned my head back, my entire body radiating a wave of murderous aura. Liu Li was startled by my demeanor, freezing right in her tracks. "What are you trying to do, you ungrateful wolf? I am your mother. Could it be that you actually want to lay a hand on me too?" My voice was ice cold, gritting out every single word. "Since you showed no mercy, then don't blame me for being unfilial. Don't meddle in my life ever again in the future. If you dare do anything to me again, I will make Lin Fan pay the price multiple times over." Retracting my gaze, I bowed deeply to Professor Wen. "Thank you for your care for me over the past 4 years. And I told him that after handling my business, I would be back." After leaving those words, I decisively turned my back and left. Not until my figure vanished from the room did Liu Li finally snap out of her shock. At this time, just as I stepped out of the school gate, Kiyo called me. "Boss, the investigation is clear. I now understand why. Shen Yuxiu declared to the outside world that she is married, yet doesn't know you at all. On the outside, the Shen family looks glamorous a clan, that massive, but over these past few years, the internal infighting has also been incredibly brutal. The old man favored the eldest son's family, wanting to hand the Shen family over to the main line. Shen Yusuo is the youngest daughter, so she was always suppressed. A few years ago, the old man picked out a few good-for-nothing candidates for Shen Yusuo, intending to use her for a political marriage. Back then, the matter was brewing and couldn't be settled until Shen Yusuo said that she had registered her marriage to a husband from an ordinary background. Only then did this matter finally drop. But when it comes to this husband of hers, it's actually quite interesting. He has never appeared before the public, nor has he ever attended any party of the Shen family. In short, there is only one truth, which is, Kiyu dragged out his voice, keeping me in suspense. But before the result could even be blurted out, I suddenly realized the truth. Have you looked into her schedule and contact info yet? Kia paused for a moment, stating her schedule for the next few days clearly. I'll send it to you later. It's fine if you can't check her personal phone number. I'll just go intercept her. For someone with a status like Shen, Yusuo, her personal number is top secret. Not being able to check it is completely normal. Kiyua immediately said gossipingly, there are always bodyguards surrounding her, so she won't be easy to approach. Are you planning to use force, or should you keep a low profile lately? The corner of my mouth hooked up into a smile, with deep meaning. In front of the gates of the Shen group, I adjusted the courier uniform on myself, holding a package box as I walked inside. I told the receptionist there was a package for Miss Shen that required her to sign for it in person. After the receptionist called the secretary's office, she finally allowed me to go upstairs, getting into the dedicated elevator. I reached the 88th floor, the top floor. Stepping out of the elevator, the view instantly opened up. The secretary's office was an entire large department. More than 100 people were all working here, just to serve Shen Yusuo alone. I followed behind the secretary, who came to receive me, smoothly arriving at the president's office and knocking on the door. A very beautiful voice echoed from inside, "Come in." Just when I thought I would get to meet Shen Yusuo without a hitch, a figure suddenly blocked me. "Hold it right there." Liu Qiang frowned as he sized me up. "Mr. Lin? Why is it you again?" Liu Qiang's face looked very ugly. He still remembered clearly the matter of me bothering Shen Yusuo yesterday at the Lin family mansion. Shen Yusuo didn't hold a grudge against me back then, but who knew today I would give them an inch and take a mile, even disguising myself as a courier just to come all the way here to pester her. He waved his hand to call 2 bodyguards over. "What's going on here? Did you not check his identity at all? Now any random nobody can just come up to the top floor. Throw him out for me immediately." My expression remained unchanged. "What do you mean by this? Could it be that the Shen group looks down on us couriers?" Liu Qiang sneaked a cold laugh. "You sure know how to play the victim. We respect every profession. But are you even a real courier? Do you have a courier ID card?" Just as Liu Qiang finished speaking, an employee ID card was thrust right in front of his face. His stubborn expression stiffened. "Don't tell me you just registered for this today." The ID card in front of him was flipped open, showing the registration date clearly on it. Liu Qiang was astonished. 8 years ago, you really were a delivery guy. Is it a crime to work a part-time job to pay for school? My voice was sluggish. I called out toward the room, "Miss Shen, can you cooperate with my work now?" A pleasant voice echoed from the room. "Let him in." I shot Liu Qiang a provocative glance. Seeing that he was about to blow a fuse, I finally slipped past him to enter the door. Shen Yusuo's office was styled in a minimalist luxury vibe, making the place look like it didn't have a single bit of warmth. Finishing signing the stack of documents in her hand, Shen Yusuo finally raised her head. Her eyes were bright but didn't show a single shred of emotion. I pointed at the delivery slip. "Miss Shen, sign here." Her gaze lingered on me for a moment. Then she picked up her pen to sign her name. Right at this moment, I suddenly blurted out an astonishing line. "Miss Shen? Actually, you still haven't gotten married yet, right?" The woman's pen paused. She raised her head, her cold gaze locking onto me. I knew I had guessed right. When registering information at the Civil Affairs Bureau, one must fill out their personal info by hand. There was absolutely no way there could be a mistake. Shen Yusuo declared to the outside world that she was married, yet completely didn't know me. After a preliminary investigation, the truth could only be that Shen Yusuo, in order to deal with her family rushing her to get married, had fabricated a fake husband, purely on paper. She had never been to the Civil Affairs Bureau, so she had no idea about the fact that we were actually married. I said, "Seriously, Miss Shen? I know what I'm saying sounds unbelievable. But we really are married." Shen Yusuo slowly sat up in a poised manner, a clear look of mockery appearing on her face. "Mr. Lin, don't waste your breath. Even if I weren't married, there is absolutely no way I would marry you just to spite Shen Xin." I was slightly dazed. She only knew about the past between me and Shen Xin, so she thought I was looking for her to seek revenge. That was why she never believed my words. I hurriedly explained, "I'm looking for you not because of Shen Xin, but because I want to get a divorce from you. I don't care about your guys' emotional conflicts." Shen Yusuo cut me off. She quickly finished signing and handed the waybill over to me. "Stop coming to bother me. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." Hearing that, I also got a bit annoyed. "Haven't you already been impolite to me a long time ago? You've already declared that you'll make me disappear from Haicheng." Shen Yusuo knit her brows. "When did I ever—" Before she could finish her sentence, her phone ringtone suddenly rang out. It was the specific ringtone for her grandma. She immediately answered the call. The caregiver's voice came from the other end, Miss Shen. The old madam has disappeared again. Shun Yusuo anxiously and hurriedly walked outside. I still wanted to chase after her to clear things up, but was stopped by Liu Qiang. Mr. Lin, I advise you to just stop. Right here. Just like that, I was escorted out of the Shen group. Right as I arrived back at my doorstep, I suddenly turned around and saw the old lady I met last time, tiptoeing and stealthily following behind me. My face was full of helplessness. Just as I was about to speak, the old lady suddenly grabbed my wrist tightly. Grandson-in-law, don't you dare abandon Grandma again. Inside the rented house, the old lady sat by the dining table and drank 3 glasses of water in one go. I'm really not lying to you. I'm really not your grandson-in-law. The old lady was very stubborn. She took the water glass and chugged another glass down. Knowing that reasoning with her wasn't going to work, I took out my phone and called the exact same number from last time. The phone rang just once and someone answered right away. Hello? I faintly felt that this woman's voice sounded a bit familiar. Just as I was about to say something, the phone was suddenly snatched away by the old lady. At this moment, Shen Yusuo was leading a group of people searching around the area. Her face was still calm and composed, but her heart was filled with anxiety. Grandma didn't just have Alzheimer's. As an 87-year-old elderly person, her body organs had long begun to age. She could face a life-threatening danger at any moment. The moment the phone rang, she answered immediately, and then heard her grandma's voice, coming through sounding incredibly energetic. You silly girl, don't come pick me up. I'm currently with my grandson-in-law. This phone number belonged to that guy from last time. So Grandma is currently with him again, Shen? Yusuo's face darkened. Where are you, Grandma? I'm not telling you. Do you think I can't find you just because you won't tell me? I forbid you from looking for me, and you're not allowed to send people to investigate me either. Shen Yusuo rubbed her temples in frustration. She covered the receiver and anxiously asked the attending doctor about the old madam's condition. Can we forcibly bring her back? The doctor shook his head and replied in a low voice. The old madam cannot take any kind of stimulation. Right now, it's best to just go along with her wishes. That guy from last time didn't look like a bad person either. With a face full of helplessness, Shun Yusuo coaxed her over the phone again. Grandma, I still need to send you your medicine, right? No need to send any medicine? I brought it with me, so rest assured. Just wait obediently for Grandma to capture your grandson-in-law and bring him home to you. Having said that, the old lady hung up immediately. She handed the phone back to me with a beaming face. Grandson-in-law. It's all settled. Meanwhile, I stood there completely dazed. What kind of family members are these? They aren't reliable at all, just leaving an elderly person with a stranger like that. Right when I was about to call back, a WeChat notification sound rang out. Someone sent a friend request through the phone number, with the message, the old lady's granddaughter. I accepted the other party's friend request. The granddaughter quickly sent a message over. Please take care of my grandma for a while. Her health hasn't been good lately and she can't take any stimulation. I let out a cold laugh, holding my phone to reply coldly. Inconvenient. My place isn't a charity organization. Before the words were even finished typing, I suddenly heard a noise coming from the kitchen. I hurriedly walked over and saw the old lady was boiling eggs. I casually asked if she was hungry and wanted to eat eggs. On the old lady's wrinkled face, a gentle smile appeared. Grandson-in-law? Take the egg and roll it on your face to reduce the swelling. I froze. Perhaps I didn't even notice it myself. But after being slapped by my biological mother today, even though I acted like I didn't care on the outside, in reality my entire body had been shrouded in a layer of coldness, isolating me from this world. Now the old lady's words completely dispelled the coldness on me, and warmth gradually returned to the depths of my eyes. Afterward, I looked back at my phone, only to see that in the chat interface with Miss Shen, an orange pop-up suddenly appeared. Received a transfer of 300,000 yuan, along with a note, this is the living expenses for 1 week. If it's not enough, let me know. I looked at my own input box, re-edited the message, alright. Don't know why I suddenly meddled in other people's business. Probably just because the other party gave way too much money. Meanwhile, at the Lin family mansion, Lin Fan's cheek was swollen high. The handprint was still clearly visible. Liu Li bowed her head. That beast Lin Wu, it must be him. He's jealous because you're about to marry the young lady Shen Xin. Just wait until your dad gets back so he can teach him a lesson he'll never forget. At this time, Yanha dragged her sickly body downstairs. Her voice was weak, but her tone was firm. Lin Wu is not that kind of person. You guys must have done something to provoke him first. Seeing this though, Lin Fan was unwilling. He still changed the subject. Mom, can you invite Dr. Wu to Haicheng University to be an advisor? Mrs. Lin immediately and sharply refused. Lin Fan, as a person you shouldn't use past favors to force someone. Furthermore, Dr. Wu has done more than enough for this house and the company over the years. Lin Fan wasn't surprised at all. Haicheng University is the best school in this region. Perhaps Dr. Wu himself wants to go there too. It just so happens we can help connect him with the school's side, which can also count as repaying Dr. Wu's help all this time. Mrs. Lin found these words reasonable, so she took out her phone and opened WeChat. Then let me ask him and see. Lin Fan sat down next to Mrs. Lin, saying that Dr. Wu had helped their family so much any favor had already been repaid long ago. Should our family host a banquet to entertain him a bit when the time comes? Won't it be better if you ask him directly, Mom? Dr. Wu always granted every request from Mrs. Lin. As long as he came, he planned to request to be his graduate student. Dr. Wu would definitely not refuse. Mrs. Lin was convinced. She sent a WeChat message to Dr. Wu Xiaowu. Do you have time to drop by the house to play? After seeing this message, my heart tightened instantly. Why did Mrs. Lin suddenly want to meet up? Could it be that her health isn't good? Thinking back to Mrs. Lin's coughing, my heart was incredibly worried. I stood up intending to go right away. I'm free now. I'll head over immediately. But just as I was about to hurriedly leave, Mrs. Lin's next WeChat message arrived. No need. Today is Saturday. Are you working overtime? I want to invite you to a casual dinner. Only now did I realize I was so worried that I lost my composure. Thinking back to the scene of being kicked out of the Lin family 15 years ago, the corner of my mouth turned up in a bitter smile. So many years have passed already, it's about time to meet face to face. After that, I messaged back, it should be me inviting you instead. 6 p.m. Saturday, be there or be square. Having said that, I sent a restaurant location over. When I exited the chat with Mrs. Lin, I saw Shen Yusuo had sent a few messages. The content was a few instructions on taking care of grandma. Seeing this, I quietly stepped closer, filming a short video clip and sending it to Shen. Yusuo? On the side of the street. Not far away, two fully equipped luxury vans were parked quietly. Shen Yusuo was sitting on the sofa working on her laptop. At this moment, a WeChat notification suddenly rang out. Shen Yusuo picked up her phone to check, and then that iceberg face, unchanged for 10,000 years, faintly showed a hint of astonishment. The family doctor immediately asked, did something happen to the old madam? Shen Yusuo pursed her lips and handed the video over for him to see. They saw the old madam lying on a floral bedsheet, sleeping very soundly. It was only 9 p.m. right now. Normally, if the old madam could fall asleep before 1 a.m., it was already a miracle. The family doctor was full of amazement. The old madam is truly different toward this young man. If we can let him stay by the old madam's side constantly, the old madam's health will definitely take a turn for the better. Shen Yusuo's gaze deepened, seemingly calculating something. The next morning, I received a message from Shen Yusuo. Messaging back and forth a few times always gave Shen Yusuo a kind of feeling like she was chatting with an old friend. He suddenly asked if he could come visit grandma tonight. Of course, you're always welcome. After that, I sent him a specific address. At this moment, I was standing outside the door, waiting boredly, when suddenly a familiar voice rang out. I turned my head back and caught sight of a familiar face. It was Shen Xin. That face, which had always been gentle and considerate in my memories, was now looking at me with a gloomy expression. Back in college, I was always a lone wolf. Shen Xin, on the other hand, was enthusiastic and outgoing. She always stood by my side and could be considered my only friend. It's just that right now our relationship is a bit awkward. I hesitated for a moment before speaking up. Is something the matter? Shen Xin sneered. Lin Fan already told me about your background. Why did you hide it from me? While I, like a total fool, chased after a guy like you for 4 whole years. Was it fun? My chest felt as if it were being squeezed tightly by a massive hand. Who would have thought a 4-year-long friendship could be shattered so easily? I took a step back to maintain some distance from her. Shen Xin took a step forward instead, questioning, you have nothing you want to explain to me. I let out a cold laugh. Nope. Having said that, I turned around intending to leave. Since she looked down on my background then, it didn't matter if we weren't friends anymore. My decisive attitude made Shen Xin exceptionally frustrated. Seeing me walking further and further away from her, without even thinking, she grabbed my arm. You're not allowed to leave. I turned my head to look at her. What else do you want? Shen Xin's expression was tense, rage boiling up inside her. I was clearly the one who let go first. So why does it look like I'm the one who got dumped? Then her sarcastic voice rang out again. Are you still working part-time jobs here? Looks like you still haven't found a real job, huh? How about you come be a personal lifestyle assistant? For me, I struggled to break free from her grasp, refusing coldly. I'm afraid I can't handle it. Shen Xin still persisted. It's not like you have to do much. I have an apartment near the company. You just need to stay there and take care of my daily life, that's all. Paying you 50 million a month, is that enough? My gaze instantly turned bone-chillingly cold. You want me to be your side piece? Shen Xin sneered. You'd definitely be good at this, right? After all, your mother is that kind of homewrecker. Since you were a kid, you've seen and heard it all. So it counts as a family tradition. I believe you'll definitely be very professional. Hearing this, I forcefully shoved her down to the ground. Looking down at her coldly, that's enough. But after she stood up, she wasn't angry at all. Instead, she laughed. I'll give you some time to think about it. If you change your mind, just come find me anytime. Shen Xin left those words behind and walked away. I let out a self-deprecating laugh. That evening, Shen Yusuo left work right on time, heading to an old residential complex in the suburbs. In her hand, she carried a bag of fruit. Following the address on WeChat, she knocked on the door. Grandma still looked very healthy. Only now did she scan her surroundings. Although it was just a 60 square meter 2-bedroom apartment, it was incredibly neat and cozy. However, there was the sound of running water coming from the bathroom. Shen Yusuo hurriedly retracted her gaze as if she had received an electric shock. The family doctor who followed behind her was about to enter the door, but she stopped him. "Hand the equipment over to me. You go wait in the car." Shen Yusuo quickly checked the old lady's blood pressure, blood sugar, heart rate, and other vitals. Perhaps because she slept very soundly last night, every single vital measured was very healthy. The old lady said smugly, "My grandson-in-law takes excellent care of me." Seeing is believing. Shen Yusuo finally felt relieved. Her gaze flicked toward the bathroom once more. Finally, she packed up the equipment. "Since you're fine, then I'll be heading out first." The old lady said happily, "You're not staying for dinner. My grandson-in-law is a fantastic cook. It's not very convenient." Shen Yusuo put the medical equipment down. "Just leave this here." The old lady rolled her eyes. "Take it with you. If you leave it here, my grandson-in-law won't know how to use it anyway. Leaving it here, my grandson-in-law won't know how to use it either. Plus, I don't want Dr. Xiaofang to come here. I want you to come check on me every single day." Just as Shen Yusuo was about to say something, the sound of water in the bathroom suddenly stopped. She immediately stood up, grabbed her medical kit, and hurriedly headed out the door. "Then I'll take my leave first. I'll come back tomorrow." Right at the exact moment the door closed, I happened to finish putting my clothes on and walked out of the bathroom. "Where did your granddaughter go?" She left. Said she had a conflict of schedule. That girl's personality is way too rigid. And she always wears a cold face, grandson-in-law. "Is that why you don't like her?" "It can all be fixed, you know. I'm not your grandson-in-law." "You are exactly my grandson-in-law." I felt completely helpless. Through 2 days of interaction, I realized that the old lady was very kind. She would listen to me about everything except this one thing where she was incredibly stubborn. A few days later, the old lady suddenly said she wanted to go home to grab some clothes. So I texted her granddaughter to ask for the address. But when I opened that location, I was instantly stunned. Manor number 1. Isn't this the Shen family mansion? That's the most famous wealthy area in Haicheng. I had assumed the old lady's house was just some small villa, never daring to think about the Shen family. But after arriving at the place, I looked up at the ancient elegance in front of me, the grand majestic black gate carved with exquisite patterns. I hesitated and asked, "Grandma, is this your house?" The old lady slightly blinked her sleepy eyes, her gaze a bit dazed. "Grandson-in-law, I don't remember anymore." Helpless, I had no choice but to send a message to her granddaughter. She replied immediately, "You two just wait there. I'm coming right now." Not long after, a luxury car pulled up in front of us. Lin Fan and Liu Li stepped down from the back seat, rushing straight toward us. Liu Li knit her brows tightly. "Lin Wu, as expected, it's you. What are you doing here?" Today, she was accompanying Lin Fan as a chaperone to visit the Shen family. From afar, she had seen someone loitering in front of the Shen family's gate, never expecting that person to actually be me. Lin Fan looked at the tightly closed gate of the Shen family. "Lin Wu, are you coming to bother Miss Shen Yusuo again?" As soon as he finished speaking, Liu Li barked out loudly, "You beast. Look at what day it is today. Get the hell away from here for me. If you ruin Lin Fan's engagement ceremony, I won't let you off easy." Although I was disgusted by them to the core, because the old lady was here, I didn't want any conflict to break out with them. Therefore, I could only suppress my patience deep down inside, explaining that I only came to bring the old lady home, but took the wrong turn. Lin Fan instinctively blurted out, "Isn't this your wife's grandma? How could she possibly live in this villa?" "District," I countered back. "Why couldn't she?" Liu Li, standing by the side, scolded me again. "Are you still playing dumb? Putting on an act? How could the grandma of your dirt poor wife ever afford to live here?" She looked straight at the old lady. "Hey, old hag! Tell me then, which villa number do you live in?" Hearing this, my brow knit, intending to say something, but the old lady suddenly stood up straight. "I remember now. I live right here, grandson-in-law. Follow grandma back home." She pulled my hand and walked toward the main gate of the Shen family. From here to the main gate was still about 100 meters. But after only a few steps, Lin Fan spoke up. "Lin Wu, you made up all these excuses. Isn't it just because you want to use this old lady as a shield to sneak into the Shen family mansion?" My footsteps paused. I looked in surprise at the Shen family mansion in front of me. Even though, when I saw this massive and majestic gate, in my heart I already had a faint speculation I still couldn't connect that polite and elegant granddaughter on WeChat with a cold and ruthless Shen Yusuo. Perhaps the old lady remembered it wrong. Right when I was about to confirm it once more, Liu Li suddenly rushed over and violently grabbed the old lady. "I won't allow you guys to go to their house. Not allowing you guys to come to the family home and cause trouble." Startled, I used one hand to shield the old lady. and with the other, grabbed Liu Li and forcefully shoved her away. What do you think you're doing? Liu Li was pushed back several steps. After steadying herself, she immediately opened her mouth to scold me for being ungrateful. You dare to hit your own biological mother? For the sake of this old bag, I'm calling the police. I didn't even bother to pay attention to her, hurriedly looking over at the old lady. The old lady had never been cursed at like this before. She was already so angry that her entire body was trembling. Her hand was pressed tightly against her chest, her body shaking uncontrollably. I hurriedly supported her, instantly pulling the emergency heart medication out from her pocket. However, after opening the cap, I discovered the inside was completely empty. My pupils contracted. An elderly person's body is very weak. Unless it's a last resort, one shouldn't perform chest compressions for resuscitation. It's best if she takes her medicine. I suddenly looked toward that gate. The Shen family definitely has medicine. Even if the old lady isn't from the Shen family, she's still their neighbor. They wouldn't just leave her to die. I picked the old lady up, but Lin Fan forcefully grabbed my arm. Lin Wu, don't be like this. The Shen family won't let you in. He looked toward the old lady, a sinister gleam flashing through his eyes. At this moment, I felt like I was going crazy with rage. A monstrous anger swirled in my eyes. I raised my leg and kicked him to the ground. But in the next second, my leg was tightly hugged by someone. Julie sat flat on the ground, tightly hugging me without any regard for her image. I was so angry that my whole body was shaking, because I was worried about the old lady I was holding in my arms. For a moment, I had no way to break free. Right at this time, a black Bentley slowly drove up. Shen Yusuo got out of the car and asked loudly, "What are you all doing?" Lin Fan hurriedly spoke up, "Miss Shen, it's Lin Wu." He insisted on bringing a dying old bag to the Shen family to scam you guys. It's all my fault for not stopping him. Hearing these words right after Shen, Yusuo saw clearly that the person I was holding was her grandma. Her pupils contracted. She strode toward us. Grandma was her closest relative. In recent years, the old lady's health had been declining day by day. Shen Yusuo was clearly panicked to the absolute extreme. I didn't have time to explain, hurriedly running over. The old lady is having a heart attack. The medicine she carries with her happens to be completely empty. If she gets medicine in time, she'll be fine. Shen Yusuo's eyes turned red as she took Grandma, rushing straight into the Shen mansion without looking back. I couldn't follow them inside because my leg was still being tightly hugged by Liu Li. Lin Fan was still doubting the old lady's identity. Liu Li finally let go of me. While dusting herself off, she sneered, "Didn't you rely on this to bring that dying old bag to barge into the Shen mansion?" At this moment, the main gate of the Shen mansion opened. Shensin walked outside. Lin Fan had a flattering look. "Cousin Shensin, you could have just waited for me at the parking lot. Why did you come all the way out to the main gate?" Shensin forced out a bit of gentleness. "I was afraid it's your first time coming to the door and you wouldn't know the way." She immediately looked over at me, her initial gentleness instantly turning into ice. "Lin Wu, did you come find me because you've thought things through?" Already, my face darkened and I didn't say a word. "If you've thought it through, then just call me. Who allowed you to come to the Shen mansion is the Shen family's gate, a place where a bastard like you can enter." Shensin let out a cold laugh. "But if you really want to go in and take a look, that's fine too." "Cousin, you've misunderstood," Lin Fan interrupted Shensin. "Lin Wu, he's waiting for his wife's grandma. The old lady just had a sudden heart attack and was carried inside by Miss Shen Yusuo for emergency treatment." Shensin was so angry, her eyes turned red. She gnashed her teeth. "What wife? Lin Wu, who is that woman?" I looked at Shensin mockingly. "Who my wife is has nothing to do with you. How is it not related? I must see who dares to marry you without my permission." Lin Fan hurriedly replied, "I heard from Lin Wu's mom that she's just a loose woman." Shensin clenched her fist. "Are you really degrading yourself like this? A bastard and a loose woman. Truly a match made in heaven." Lin Fan continued to fan the flames. "Lin Wu probably wasn't satisfied either, so he's always clinging to Miss Shen Yusuo." I sneered. "Lin Fan, you consider yourself the young master of the Lin family. So why is your head filled with such trash other than sleazy affairs? Do you have nothing else to think about?" Hearing this, Lin Fan's face darkened and he clenched his fist tightly. "I know you're doing this to get revenge on me and cousin Shen, which is why you married Miss Shen Yusuo. A long time ago, right? You shouldn't go around ruining other people's marriages." Shensin was absolutely furious after hearing these words. For the past 2 days, she had been waiting for my call, thinking that if I knew my place and begged for forgiveness, it wouldn't be impossible to give me a way out. As it turns out, I had already found another option long ago. Thinking of this, she instantly flew into a rage. "I knew it. Why would your wife's grandma be right in front of my gate? Turns out you came here just to find Xiao Ying. Lin Wu, how can you be so shameless to this extent?" She was so mad her temper flared, pointing her finger at me as she instructed. "Security, look closely. Remember, this face. He is not allowed to take even half a step into the Shen mansion. Lin Fan lowered his head, hiding the smug smiles at the corner of his lips. At the Shen family's main gate, Shen could still call half the shots. However, right in the next second, the butler of the Shen family walked out from inside. His eyes scanned across everyone once. Then he stepped up in front of me. Mr. Lin Wu, Miss Shen Yuso invites you inside. Lin Fan was stunned. Shen stared open-mouthed. I raised my head, wearing a half smile as I looked toward the security guard. So can I go in now? The security guard timidly stole a glance at Shen, then opened the gate without any hesitation. Who called the shots in the Shen family he knew very well. After stepping through the gate, Shen's group followed closely behind. Liu Li gave me a vicious glare. Miss Shen Yusuo probably let you come to pick up her grandma. Once you've got her, the two of you should know your place and get the hell out of here. Don't go dirtying the Shen family's carpet. Following those words, the group walked into the living room together and immediately saw the old madam of the Shen family sitting properly in the head seat on the sofa. The old lady looked at them angrily. You wicked woman, who are you calling a beast? By now, the old lady had changed into a set of luxurious clothes, but her complexion was still not very good. Shen Yusio sat coldly on her left side. Liu Li stood frozen in place, while Lin Fan's limbs went completely weak, almost collapsing straight to the ground. Fortunately, he was supported by Shen Xin. What's wrong with you? Lin Fan's hands were trembling violently. He suddenly let out a bitter laugh. Lin Wu, why did you lie to me saying old Madam Shen is your wife's grandma? You made us disrespect the old madam. I instantly felt several suspicious glances in the room shifting and locking onto me. Liu Li also reacted. You clearly knew the old madam suffers from senile dementia, yet you still dared to deceive her? What do you take the Shen family for? Kneel down and apologize to me right now. My gaze darkened. So they want to dump all the blame onto my head. Lin Fan taking this chance to clear his name is quite a clever move. Smash a teacup was thrown by the old lady, hitting Liu Li right on the body. The scalding hot tea inside splashed all over her, but Liu Li didn't dare to make a single sound. You bastard! The old madam barked out in rage. He is exactly my grandson-in-law. Liu Li endured the pain of the burn and said, Old madam, you've been tricked by him. We're absolutely sure his wife is just a thug? There's no need to argue further. Just ask the person involved directly. And won't that settle it? Shenxin's mother, standing by the side, spoke up. Yusuo, is he really your husband? I quietly looked over toward Shen Yusuo, and then heard the expected answer. No. Truly someone who repays kindness with generic spite. An ungrateful woman. A flash of anger flickered in my eyes. Lin Fan, however, showed a clear look of joy, instantly breathing a sigh of relief. Liu Li curled her lips and said, I knew it. I knew it. This was all a trick played by Lin Wu. I let out a cold laugh and was about to speak up when I heard that woman's voice ring out once again. Grandma just mistook him. So I asked Mr. Lin Wu to help take care of her for a while. Everyone went completely silent. No one expected the situation to turn out like this. After a moment, Lin Fan lowered his head. So that's how it is. Lin Wu, why didn't you explain the truth to us clearly? If you had said it earlier, this misunderstanding wouldn't have happened. Mr. Lin Fan, Shen Yusuo leaned against the sofa, looking casual, but her words carried an imposing aura. When you run into trouble, you hide behind others and shift the blame. Is this how the Lin family teaches their children? Hearing this, old Madame Shen understood everything, instantly barking out in rage. Did you guys think my mind had a problem? So I couldn't see through these petty tricks of yours making a mistake without showing any remorse, and even trying to shift the blame to someone else. The two of you are truly shameless. Old Madame Shen looked straight at Shen Xin. Call off the wedding. I won't accept this grandson-in-law. Lin Fan's entire body shook. The marriage he had worked so hard for so long to get couldn't just vanish into thin air. Like that. Then he looked toward Shen Xin, only to see her face was freezing cold, her eyes staring intently at me, clearly still in shock. Over the fact that I was married, Lin Fan clenched his fist tightly, lowered his head, and walked up to Shen Xin. Cousin Shen Xin, it's my fault. Don't worry, even if the engagement is cancelled. The person I promised to introduce to you, I will still do it. Shen Xin snapped out of it. Lin Fan still wanted to help introduce her to Dr. Wu. Currently in MwRc's new energy projects, Dr. Wu was a top-tier heavy hitter. She hurriedly said to old Madame Shen, Great-grandma. Lin Fan also didn't know, so he's not to blame. Please forgive him. Furthermore, the two families have already exchanged betrothal gifts. It's really not convenient to cancel the wedding. Old Madame Shen gave her a deep look. Suit yourself. Your business should just be decided by your parents. I don't want to micromanage too much. But Shen Xin's mother smiled and said, Grandma, didn't you forget to give a greeting gift? Hearing this, old Madame Shen immediately lowered her eyelids. I'll have someone transfer 180,000 to Shen Xin. Shen Xin's mother's face froze. But before this, didn't you say you'd give the young couple a 2% share, for fear that the kids would be short on cash? Speaking of who was the richest person in the Shen family, it was definitely old Madame Shen. She came from a wealthy family in the capital, her own dowry was incredibly vast, and she held a 20% share in the Shen family. Shenshin's mother had long wanted to use this marriage to demand a large sum of money from her. Originally, everything had been agreed upon, but the old madam suddenly changed her mind. Old Madame Shen flashed a smile, looking at her with a half smile. I am not satisfied with this grandson-in-law, so I won't give anything. Lin Fan's face turned stark white. He felt utterly humiliated and disgraced. The Shen family has quite a few servants. This matter would definitely get leaked out. By then, the whole of Haicheng would know that he was despised by the old madam. Wealthy families care about face the most. The old madam today had truly trampled his dignity under her feet. But the old lady didn't give a damn. After leaving those words behind, she pulled me along, walking with Shen Yousuo toward the courtyard where she lived. Afterward, she found an excuse to leave, telling Shen Yousuo to entertain her grandson-in-law well on her behalf, and then hurriedly led her people away. In the blink of an eye, only I and Shen Yousuo were left in the courtyard. In the night, Shen Yousuo and I stood side by side. While I was still hesitating on how to strike up a conversation, Shen Yousuo suddenly looked at me, her eyes showing clear disdain. What a spineless wimp. I wasn't about to back down either. Also suddenly looked at her seriously, you silly girl. Shen Yusuo's face turned pale. To butter Grandma up so much that she'd even say something like this. He clearly has deep schemes. Grandma clinging to him might have been an accident, with no signs of manipulation in that regard. But this man being so kind as to take Grandma in, who knows if it's because Grandma accidentally exposed her own identity. I snapped back, not forgetting the main task. I remember in the text message you said you'd do me a favor. So can you come with me to the Civil Affairs Bureau to check our marital status? Shen Yusuo's face darkened with impatience as she growled. Fine, let's go. If that thing isn't real, I hope you stop using Grandma to cling to me. The old lady's little head popped out from the window. You girl, are you bullying? My grandson-in-law. Hearing this, Shen Yusuo's expression instantly froze. No, I'm not. Dinner was quite simple. 4 dishes and 1 soup, just enough for 3 people. It's just that the old lady had no appetite. After a few bites, she put her chopsticks down. Grandson-in-law, I'm tired. Let's go home. Grandma, stop making a fuss. Just rest at home tonight. This small courtyard was like a miniature nursing home, fully equipped with all kinds of medical machinery. The old lady anxiously grabbed my hand again. Then can you stay here with me? My brow furrowed as I stole a glance at Shen Yusuo. Truth be told, I wasn't at ease leaving the old lady either. But this woman despised me so much, suspecting that I was using Grandma to get close to her. She'd definitely say no. Shen Yusuo remained silent for a moment. Fine. Afterwards, she gave me a meaningful glare, clearly doing this entirely for Grandma's sake, warning me not to have any improper intentions. After finishing dinner, I took Grandma back to her room to rest. The old lady must have been truly exhausted today, on top of having just suffered a medical episode. As soon as she lay down, she fell into a deep sleep. Her sleep was very restless. Helpless, I could only sit by the bed to keep her company. Outside the window, Shen Yusuo asked, with a serious face, what's wrong with Grandma? The family doctor who had studied psychology let out a sigh. Although I don't know why the old madam is so fixated on this young man, I can more or less guess why she is so insecure, even fearing that her grandson-in-law will leave. Right after that, the family doctor stole another glance at Shen Yusuo. The old madam probably feels that she won't make it through this year. She's afraid that after she's gone, you'll have no attachments left. This grandson-in-law is the only person she can leave behind to stay by your side. Shen Yusuo paused slightly. In those deep, dark eyes, uncontrollable emotions were surging, taking a long time before returning to calmness. She stood under the moonlight, as if about to dissolve completely into the endless darkness behind her. Who knows how much time passed, but the woman suddenly turned around and strode toward the main mansion. Lin Fan had a very hard time eating this meal, because he had just lost a 2% share. Shenxin's mother, Liu Meizhen, was extremely dissatisfied. She spoke to him with heavy sarcasm. Isn't Lin Wu just an illegitimate child of your family? Why can he please the old lady, while you can't? Lin Fan could only lower his head and apologize. Auntie, I'm not as sweet-talked and good at sweet-talking. Others, as Lin Wu, Liu Meizhen sneered, I don't care what method you use, you must get that 2% share back from me. Otherwise, don't even think about stepping through the door of the Shen family. Lin Fan suffered in silence. With great difficulty, the meal finally ended, and he could finally speak up to take his leave. But before he could even leave, Shen Yusuo returned. The moment she stepped inside, she brought an immense pressure with her. She glanced at the leftovers on the center table, and then her expression turned even more unsightly. Grandma couldn't eat anything tonight, yet they were here feasting happily. Liu Mei, Zhen saw her expression and didn't dare to speak up. Only Shenshin's father, Shen Yuanji, frowned and asked, Yusuo, why are you here? Shen Yusuo didn't bother to pay attention to this nominal uncle. Her gaze shifted toward Lin Fan. Since the wedding hasn't been called off, then right now he's also considered a member of the Shen family, right? Since he's a member of the Shen family, then he must follow the rules of the Shen family. Today he disrespected his elders, punish him by making him kneel in the ancestral hall for a night. Shen Yusuo didn't explain further, directly gesturing to the people behind her. Two bodyguards stepped up in front of Lin Fan. Young Master Lin, please. Lin Fan looked at Shen Xin for help, but saw that the other party didn't dare to resist the authority of the person in power at all. He took a deep breath, having no choice but to follow the bodyguards. Before stepping out of the door, he heard Shen Xin ask her aunt, "What about that Lin Wu guy? Did he leave next?" Was a warning response from Shen Yusuo. "He is my guest. Tonight he will stay at the Shen mansion." Lin Fan followed the bodyguards to the ancestral hall. They said, "The young lady has ordered. Since you two are still not married, you are not permitted to step inside the Shen family's ancestral hall. Just kneel outside." Outside was a blue brick floor. Lin Fan wanted to say something, but the two bodyguards clasped their hands behind their backs, staring coldly at him. "Young Master Lin?" The night was very cold. Lin Fan shivered uncontrollably. The bone-chilling cold from the knees seeped straight into his marrow. He wanted to slack off a bit, but those two bodyguards just stood there like door gods staring intently at him, not saying a word yet, making him shudder without even a breeze. The next morning when I woke up, I was already lying on a bed with a small pink blanket covering my body. But the style didn't really match the old lady's room decor. I didn't think too much about it. After waking up and finishing my personal hygiene, I joined Grandma and Shen Yusuo for breakfast. On the dining table sat a plate of fried sugar cakes. The old lady immediately picked one up for Shen Yusuo. Yusuo saw that Grandma's blood sugar was high, making it unsuitable for her to eat such oily and sugary food. While she was thinking of how to stop her from eating it, she heard me casually say, "Grandma, this sugar cake isn't suitable for you." Right after that gluttonous and stubborn old lady actually put the piece of sugar cake into my bowl. The old lady smiled flatteringly. "Grandson-in-law, I'm giving it to you." Shen Yusuo looked at me with a scrutinizing gaze, not understanding why Grandma listened to me so much. I wasn't polite at all and started eating the sugar bun, then looked towards Shen Yusuo. "Right. When we go to the Civil Affairs Bureau later, you need to bring your ID card and household registration booklet." The old lady asked curiously, "What are you guys going to the Civil Affairs Bureau for?" "The marriage certificate is lost." But unexpectedly, as soon as the words left my mouth, the old lady spoke up again. "It's not lost." She hurriedly went into the bedroom and very quickly came back out holding two red marriage certificates, handing them to me and Shen Yusuo. I stared in a daze at the marriage certificate in my hand, suddenly realizing that right from the first time I met the old lady, she had called me her grandson-in-law. She always knew that we were married. I felt like I had just grasped a clue, instantly asking, "Grandma, why are these marriage certificates with you?" The old lady blanked out, her gaze becoming dazed. "I don't remember anymore." "Then how did Miss Shen and I get married?" The old lady continued to shake her head. "I don't remember." I got a bit anxious. Grandma tried hard to think back. "Enough," Shen Yusuo barked out softly, stepping directly between me and the old lady. Her cold eyes stared at me. "Mr. Lin, this is indeed the real deal. Next, are you going to say that we don't need to go to the Civil Affairs Bureau anymore? Turns out your goal was this all along. First, you used going to the Civil Affairs Bureau as a pretext to openly cling to me, as a stepping stone, and then you coaxed Grandma into bringing out this fake document to make her believe it's real." I could sense a faint trace of intent to kill in the woman's voice, feeling completely baffled. "It's fine if we don't go today. After all, getting a divorce isn't something that's settled just by making a trip to the Civil Affairs Bureau. For the past 2 years, we have been a legal couple. This involves a lot of property division issues. We need to sign a divorce agreement first." "No way," Shen Yusuo said, and then stared intently at me. Seeing that I was slightly dazed, she said helplessly, "Whether it's because your acting skills are too good, or this marriage certificate is actually real." Could this marriage certificate actually be real? Shen Yusuo suddenly felt a bit unsure. She decisively grabbed the marriage certificate and walked toward the front door. "I'll wait for you at the parking lot." I smiled to reassure the old lady. As soon as we arrived at the parking lot, we saw Lu Li supporting a pale-faced Lin Fan. Seeing me walk out, she aggressively rushed over. "You must help your brother Lin Wu. You are an adopted child, yet the Lin family never cared about your background. Not to mention the hard work of raising you. There's at least the effort. You should repay the Lin family." I had been listening to this brainwashing for 25 years. Now it just felt ridiculous. Liu Li called out to me, "Lin Wu." She took the opportunity to say, "Now that you're grown up, you finally have a chance to repay the Lin family, Lin Wu. Isn't old Madam Shen very obedient to you? Go tell her to return that 2% share to your brother." Hearing this, I suddenly burst out laughing. I'm just a lowly adopted child. How could old Madame Shen possibly listen to me? Liu Li blanked out. She wanted to say more, but I strode right past her, getting straight into Shen Yusuo's car. The car quickly reached the Civil Affairs Bureau. Just as it came to a halt, Liu Kuang hurriedly chased after us. Boss. The driver said you drove off by yourself, which gave me a total scare. I had to quickly follow the GPS to catch up here. Did something happen? Shen Yusuo treated her words like gold. Why did you come here, boss? Don't tell me. You're actually troubled by Lin Wu's crazy delusion? Don't worry, boss. I already said it. There's no way he'll ever see you again. Otherwise, I'll live. Stream eating crap. Sitting in the back seat, I spoke up lazily. Which live stream room is yours? Liu Kuang froze. Just like that, the three of us entered the service hall. Liu Kuang spoke up first to ask, hello, I want to ask something. If the actual person isn't present, can they receive a marriage certificate? Of course not, the staff member replied. Liu Kuang looked at me mockingly. Hear that? You even went ahead and prepared fake documents. Now I'm going to call the cops to sue you for forging documents and harassment. Shen Yusuo handed the document over. Please help check if this marriage certificate is real. After looking it up, the staff member gave the answer. This certificate is real. How is that possible? Did you guys register the wrong information? Liu Kuang blurted out in shock. What kind of nonsense? Are you talking about marriage is a serious matter? To register, both parties must have their identities thoroughly checked and sign a commitment form too. I hurriedly spoke up. Can you let us see the commitment form? Shen Yusuo also nodded. Please pull up the commitment form for us. The staff member stood up helplessly. The two of you as husband and wife are truly in sync. Alright, let me go look for it for you two. Two registration files were placed in front of us. I glanced at the handwriting on them. It really was my own. Liu Kuang leaned in close and whispered, Boss, this really is your signature. Shen Yusuo remained silent. I looked at the staff member. Hello? Can you let us review the video? From the day of registration, sorry. We only keep videos for half a year. The staff member stated with certainty. The process absolutely has no errors. Both people must be present together to get the paperwork done. The three of us walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Liu Kuang was a bit dazed. Boss, what do we do now? Shen Yusuo's gaze darkened while I frowned. Divorce. The two of us spoke in unison once again. Liu Kuang blanked out and asked, so we're getting a divorce. Right now, do we need to discuss the divorce terms? I'll have my lawyer contact you. Talk? With my lawyer. Shen Yusuo and I spoke in unison for the third time. I let out a laugh, decisively saying, how about this? Let's each look over the agreement that our respective lawyers draft first. If there are any issues, let the lawyers hash it out later. Liu Kuang sneered, a guy like you can actually afford a lawyer. Shen Yusuo nodded in agreement again. I didn't bother arguing with Liu Kuang. He pulled out his phone and said, Miss Shen, let's add each other on WeChat for easier contact later. Shen Yusuo opened her QR code with a meaningful look. I scanned it and unexpectedly the contact note that popped up right in front of her eyes was, hello silly girl. Her face instantly darkened. Completely. I also felt extremely embarrassed, having forgotten that the two of us were already friends on WeChat before. Facing her unsightly expression, I cleared my throat and said that the name was just randomly set back then. Anyway, I casually changed the contact note to silly girl, left a sentence saying, see you later, and caught a cab to leave. In the car, I called Koin Guit. Find me the best divorce lawyer. Absolutely do not let her take even a single penny from me. Bro, what on earth is going on with your marriage? Could it be that both of you got amnesia or something? I let out a sigh. There's one person who definitely knows about this. Is it old Madam Shen? I furrowed my brow. The clinical trial drugs for Alzheimer's disease must be accelerated. Otherwise, it'll be too late. When I got home, the old lady was actually carrying a suitcase waiting at the door. Grandson-in-law, you're back. I brought a lot of clothes. I paused for a moment, caught between tears and laughter. On that very day, the most famous law firm in Haicheng received 2 anonymous retainers. The requests from both sides matched up weirdly well. The other party is not allowed to take even a single penny. The legal assistant complained, I've never seen a couple so heartless to each other. The lawyer grinned. 1. Agreement, but we're getting paid from both sides. Send it to the clients. Later at Shen Yusuo's office, she received my divorce agreement. Just as she opened it, Liu Tuang pushed the door open and walked in. Boss, are the investigation results out? Lin Wu only found out the two of you were married a few days before he went to register his own marriage. A few years after he left the Lin family. A lot of his information can't be traced. It's very strange. Shen Yusuo fell into deep thought, feeling that this matter must be related to him. His goal is still unclear. In addition, that researchers' whereabouts are unpredictable and we still haven't been able to contact him. Shen Yusuo didn't say anything. She didn't know that the clinical trial drug for Alzheimer's was exactly what I was researching. At dusk, Shen Yusuo asked to meet me downstairs. She handed the agreement to me. I have no objections. Sign it. She thought I would refuse, but I signed my name without any hesitation. Let's divorce tomorrow. So rushed. Are you in a rush to die? I thought to myself, the company is still waiting to go public. After all, see you at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow morning. As we were speaking, old Madame Shen came downstairs, her face stark white. Her voice trembled. Are you two planning to divorce? Just as she finished speaking, she closed her eyes and collapsed to the ground. Outside the hospital ward, the doctor gave a serious warning. The old Madame cannot take any more shocks. Absolutely do not let her get angry again. Shen Yusio sat on the bench, her hands shaking uncontrollably, waiting until the old Madame woke up. She looked at me, her voice raspy. Grandson-in-law, I dreamed that you and this girl were planning to divorce. That's not true, right? I didn't say anything. Shen Yusio, standing by the side, spoke up. It's not true, Grandma. Then no more divorce. You give the household registration and marriage certificate to me, okay? Shen Yusio agreed to all her demands. The old lady looked over at me again. Grandson-in-law, is what she said true? Thinking of the doctor's warning, I stayed silent for a moment. It's true. At night, I sat on the sofa, processing research documents in English. WeChat popped up with a text message from silly girl. Wait until Grandma's health stabilizes, then we'll get the divorce. I texted back, sure, the agreement is signed anyway. Neither side has anything to do with the other. Shen Yusuo sent another message. Do you have any other demands? Just wait for Grandma to get better, and divorce as soon as possible, that's all. The old lady looked at me, then looked at her, and suddenly said to the little brat, I want to arrange a job for my grandson-in-law at the Shen Group. Shen Yusuo paused slightly reluctantly, answering yes. The old lady was extremely thrilled. Tomorrow you go to work with this girl. I agreed as well. The database of the Shen Group was very rich, making it convenient for me to look up information. Afterwards, Shen Yusuo and Liu Tuang left. Out in the hallway, Liu Kuang complained, Boss, he definitely wants to infiltrate the company. Why did you agree? If we don't keep him under our eyes, how will he show his true colors? Shen Yusuo said coldly. In the hospital ward, the old lady waved to call me over, grandson-in-law. Let me tell you a secret. If that girl bullies, you just bite back. Don't look at her arrogant and aloof appearance. She's actually terrified of cats. A look of doubt flashed in my eyes. In my memories, there was an older girl I knew since childhood, who also seemed to be terrified of cats. Grandson-in-law, do you like cats or dogs? I suddenly realized that I used to like cats before, but because she didn't like them, I stopped liking them too, very soon after I understood why the old lady asked this question. The next day, on the rooftop of the Shen Group, an adorable Shiba Inu was wagging its tail, running around my feet. Liu Kuang was speechless. The job the old madam arranged for Mr. Lin, why is it to take care of? This little dog, even Shen Yusuo, couldn't understand it either. Turns out my job was actually to walk the dog. This was just too absurd. She gave an order to take him to Team 1 of the New Energy Research Department to report for duty. This was what she had arranged beforehand. The Research Department for New Energy was related to the future of the group. Putting me there was to see what slip-ups I would show. I didn't mind either. Carried the little dog and followed behind Liu Kuang. Does it have a name yet? The old madam told you to give it a name. I glanced at Shen Yusuo, whose face had darkened. Then let's call it Kitty, the New Energy. Research department was on the 38th floor. In the elevator, Liu Chuang said to young Master Lin, the staff in our Shen Group's R&D department are mostly master's students. The lowest has a PhD, graduated from famous schools. Among the researchers, you are the first one with just a bachelor's degree. Learn well from the seniors here. It will be very helpful for your future. This was specially arranged for you by the boss. Of course you don't need to thank her. Consider this as a reward from the boss for taking such good care of the old madam. I smirked. Actually, it's not really necessary. Right. The boss doesn't want to make your relationship public, to avoid causing a scene when you divorce later. Stole a glance at him. Thinking to myself, coincidentally, I have the same concern. He thought, this man actually dares to look down on the boss. The first day of work was quite chill. No one assigned any work to me, so I also felt at ease, playing with the little dog in the office. Waiting until it fell fast asleep, I stood up, closed the door, and went straight to the archive room on the 60th floor. Only by developing a specific drug for Alzheimer's disease, so that after the old lady recovers and remembers the past, will I be able to understand what on earth this bizarre marriage is all about. The books here included top-tier knowledge from every industry. There were some research materials that the outside world couldn't even lay their hands on. Looking at the pile of documents, I secretly felt hyped. On the rooftop, Shen Yusuo received a text message from old Madam Shen. Grandma's WeChat name had been changed to Grandma cannot take any shocks. You brat, you must have lunch with my grandson-in-law today. Remember to take a picture of you two being intimate during the meal. Shen Yusuo let out a helpless sigh, pressed the buzzer, and called. Liu Kuang, prepare 2 sets of lunch and bring them up here. She sent a text message to me, but I hadn't replied for the longest time. Reaching the 60th floor, I searched behind the rows of bookshelves. Before long, I saw Shen Yusuo staring right at me. I was fully absorbed in looking for books. When stepping back, I suddenly bumped into someone. Sorry. I turned my head only to see Shen San looking at me with a complicated expression. Lin Wu, you went through all that trouble to please great-grandma. Isn't it just to get close to my little aunt? My face instantly turned cold. None of your business. She hasn't been close to any man for so many years. Don't think that just by relying on this face you can seduce her. She isn't that shallow. Right now isn't the time. She just casually assigned you a job. Whether you're there or not doesn't matter at all. Just to kick you away. I sneered. Meaning back then, when you pursued me for so long, it was because you were too shallow and easy. Her eyes turned red. I know you hate me for proposing to Lin Fan, but I had no choice. A marriage between wealthy families requires considering many things. My mother would never agree to let me be with a commoner of your status. No matter what, I could never marry an illegitimate son. Otherwise, how would I face the Shen family? In the future, I'd even become a laughingstock for the whole of Haicheng. I withdrew my gaze. Thanks for your grace of not marrying me. Just as I was about to leave, Shen blocked my way again. I can arrange for you to join our team to work. When the time comes, I'll find someone capable to guide you. I know you're competitive. You're so smart, you'll definitely learn very fast. Hearing this, I cut off her rambling. What's the catch? You get a divorce and follow me, Shen. I won't allow any other woman to share you with me. Just thinking about it makes me go crazy. I coldly shot back, you're not worthy. Why do you love that street trash wife of yours so much? Do you believe that if I give her a sum of money or find someone to threaten her a bit, it would make her abandon you? How can she even compare to me? Hearing this, I coldly glanced at Shen. Originally, I didn't want to strike your self-esteem, but since you insist on asking for the truth, then let me tell you, my wife is way prettier than you, and her figure is way better than yours too. Leaving those words behind, I turned around to leave, only to see Shen Yusuo standing at the corner. I was silent, and she was silent too. At this moment, Shen's gaze from behind turned dark. She held her phone and called Lin Fan. Don't you have a lunch appointment with Dr. Wu tomorrow afternoon? Let me tag along. Meanwhile, Shen Yusuo used the excuse of inviting me to lunch to bring me to the rooftop. Stepping into Shen Yusuo's office, she pointed toward the dining table beside us. Eat first. In my heart, I still felt a bit guilty. Looking at her like this, she probably didn't hear that comment of mine, right? While I was deep in thought, I heard the sound of a phone taking a photo. Shen Yusuo casually took the photo and sent it to Grandma, only then walking over. I knew her purpose for taking the photo, so I didn't ask further, merely looking at the dining table to find a topic to talk about. Miss Shen's lunch is quite rich. The woman sat down across from me, elegantly picking up her chopsticks. After all, one needs enough nutrition to maintain the best figure. I froze, my old face blushing red. My gaze swept across her fair skin, and I awkwardly packed up a portion of the meal. Miss Shen, I suddenly remembered. I haven't fed the cat yet. I'll take my leave first. Thanks for your lunch. My mood was incredibly cheerful as I carried the lunchbox and left. After work, Shen Yusuo called Grandma. Where are you, Grandma? I'm at the hospital. This afternoon, my chest suddenly felt painful again, so I want to stay for observation for a few more days. You brat, are you coming to take care of me tonight? It's fine if you don't come. Just let me stay in the hospital alone, looking all pitiful like this. I'm coming right now? That's more like it. Right, I already spoke to my grandson-in-law. He will also come here to be with me. Remember to come together with him. Shen Yusuo massaged her temples, fully aware of Grandma's little schemes. She sent a text message to me, offering to pick me up after work to go to the hospital. I replied very quickly. No need, I already caught a cab and am on my way. Even though she wanted to keep her distance, seeing me avoid her like this made Shen Yusuo feel uncomfortable. 2104. For some reason, her annoyance increased by a few degrees. For some reason, her heart grew a few degrees warmer. I carried the little dog into the inpatient area. Not far away, Madame Lin had just finished her follow-up exam. Lin Fan was supporting her arm. Is that Lin Wu? Why is he at the hospital? Is he sick? Madame Lin said hesitantly. Lin Fan felt angry inside. Old Madame Shen wouldn't let anyone in to visit, yet she only let Lin Wu stay by her side. His eyes flashed. He's probably visiting old Madame Shen. Lin Wu is truly so filial, isn't he, Mom? The nanny sarcastically added, What do you mean filial? I've never seen him come visit you either, Madam. Madam, you even said you'd wait for him. Lin Wu is truly an ungrateful wretch. I bet he forgot about you a long time ago. Lin Fan chimed in. I heard Miss Shen found him a job at the Shen Group, which is why he's sucking up to old Madame Shen. Mom, you were merciful enough to raise him. His debt of gratitude for being raised is higher than the heavens. Yet, I don't see him repaying you. All right, stop talking. Madame Lin just happened to walk over. Lin Fan exclaimed, Mom, you are so kind-hearted. But there are also people who return a drop of water with a whole spring. Like Dr. Wu. Mom, you only sponsored him with a little money. Yet look how much he has helped our family over the years. 3 years ago, the company almost went bankrupt. Dr. Wu directly gave us a new technology patent, helping us turn danger into safety. Madame Lin nodded. Comparing them like this, Dr. Wu is way better than Lin Wu. I also want to know what kind of person Dr. Wu actually is, Mom. Take me with you tomorrow, okay? Madame Lin smiled and patted his head. All right, I'll take you. This scene just happened to be caught by me while sitting on the sofa in the VIP room of the ward. As my gaze followed Madame Lin, her face showed an unhealthy pale complexion. Lin Fan was beside her, whispering something. Madame Lin nodded helplessly. The mother and son shared a close interaction until the car drove off. Only then did I reluctantly withdraw my gaze. Turning around, the old lady was standing right behind me. Grandson-in-law? Who was that? She looked so familiar. My gaze softened and I was about to speak when her eyes suddenly lit up. I remember now, that's your mother. You two look so much alike. I paused slightly. In reality, except for the face shape, my facial features didn't resemble Madame Lin's at all. The only thing identical was that cold aura. After all, after leaving the Lin family, I had always unconsciously mirrored her working style. My body also carried a few traces of her demeanor. I looked at the old lady. Grandma, she isn't my mother. The old lady insisted firmly. I'm sure that's your mother, grandson-in-law. How can you not recognize your own mother? I was caught between tears and laughter. Fortunately, Shen Yusuo appeared at the door carrying dinner. The dinner Shen Yusuo prepared was very lavish, and she even brought fruits for the three of us. As soon as the old lady saw it, she immediately frowned. Grandson-in-law cannot eat mangoes, the boy is allergic. To mangoes, my heart tightened. 2177, I looked at her in shock. Grandma? How did you know, Grandma? In the past, I really was allergic. How did you know I used to be allergic? But 2 years ago, I underwent desensitization therapy. I had never mentioned this matter to her. The old lady smiled and said, You told me before. You said that whenever you eat mangoes, your face breaks out in rashes. My expression turned serious. When was before? The old lady became dazed again. It seems you told me before you got married. My mind was in turmoil. I was certain that before the marriage, I didn't know her at all, much less have any private relationship. I hurriedly pressed on. Grandma, do you remember anything else? For example, how Miss Shen and I registered our marriage. The old lady shook her head and said, I can't remember. I noticed Shen Yusuo's scrutinizing gaze, her expression freezing cold. I knew she must be thinking I had ulterior motives again. I really couldn't clear my name, even if I jumped into the Yellow River. I picked up the Shiba. I'm going to walk this dog. At night, I hid at the end of the hallway, quietly looking toward the hospital ward. Not long after, Shen Yusio followed me outside. Does young Master Lin have something to say? I thought you'd want to hear me explain something. Then, does young Master Lin have anything to explain? I seriously replied. About the pre-marriage stuff Grandma mentioned. I really don't know what's going on. That kind of private detail, there's no way the old lady could have just made it up on her own. I thought she would cross-examine me, but she only gave a calm response. Miss Shen believed me. Shen Yusuo took a step closer, her tone cold. Young Master Lin, I don't care what your motive is. If you can keep Grandma happy all the time, then I guarantee I can protect you fully. I understood now. She didn't care about the truth. As long as Grandma was happy, she could even turn a blind eye to all my calculated moves. She added with an overbearing aura, If you hurt Grandma, I will make sure you have no place to stay in Haicheng. I let out a cold laugh. Hasn't Miss Shen already done that? Shen Yusio frowned, just about to speak. When Professor Wen's voice suddenly rang out, Lin Wu. Professor Wen walked over, his voice raspy. I was just about to call you to ask if you found a job yet. Has the misunderstanding between you and Miss Shen been resolved? That Miss Shen is truly way too much. How could she calculate things to the point of cutting off your livelihood? Canceling your graduate school? Scholarship is one thing, but she also declared she'd make you disappear from Haicheng. Shen Yusio stood by the side, looking utterly confused. I looked at her with a half smile. Professor, don't worry. It's resolved. It was just a misunderstanding. Miss Shen is actually a pretty good person. Not only did she arrange a job for me, but she also wants to protect me. Fully. Shen Yusuo's face darkened. 2,250. Professor Wen let out a sigh of relief. Then I looked over at Shen Yusuo. And instinctively asked, Is this that deadbeat husband of yours? Shen Yusuo's face turned pitch black. The smile on my face grew even wider. Let's just say so. Professor Wen said to Shen Yusuo in a solemn voice, Young lady, you have such good looks. You should try to find a proper job to do. At this moment, at the Lin residence, Lin Jianan was anxiously asking, as Madame Lin was in no mood to eat. Yes, dear, what's wrong? You don't look well. Lin Fan chimed in, Dad. It's because we ran into Lin Wu at the hospital today, so Mom is probably worried about him. Why worry about him? Lin Fan sighed. He definitely hates me. I'm worried he'll say something in front of old Madam Shen, causing Miss Shen's anger to rub off on me. Lin Zhenan sneered. He's the one who offended Miss Shen Shin. What does it have to do with you? As they were speaking, Lin Zhenan's phone rang. It was Liu Chuang Shen Yusuo's special assistant. Special Assistant Liu, what brings you the time to call me? Does Miss Shen have any instructions? The voice on the other end of the line was extremely cold. The boss told me to ask young Master Lin Fan something. When did he ever say anything about wanting to make young Master Lin Wu disappear from Haicheng? Why is it that my boss herself knew absolutely nothing about this? Lin Zhenan's face suddenly hardened. He looked at Lin Fan in disbelief. Liu Chuang left one final line. The Lin family truly needs to properly discipline their younger generation. After saying that, he hung up. Lin Fan stood by the side, keeping his head low in silence. At that time, I saw Lin Wu clinging to Miss Shen. I was afraid he'd affect the marriage between me and Miss Shen Xin. Dad, I didn't mean to. Lin Fan defended himself, his face pale. After all, Lin Wu is also your son. I was afraid you wouldn't have the heart to scold him for his foolishness. Lin Jinan changed the subject. How many times have I said it? In my heart, I only have one son. And that's you. What kind of trash is Lin Wu? How can he even compare to you? Madam Lin disagreed. Zhenan. Lin Wu is still your son after all. Lin Zhenan immediately turned his head back. That I treated you poorly, but the son of that woman, I absolutely will not accept. In my heart, there is only you and our son. Liu Li was standing to the side in the capacity of a nanny. Hearing these words, she immediately gripped her fists in resentment. She looked at Lin Zhenan with eyes full of bitterness. This was the man she loved deeply, the childhood sweetheart neighbor she had known since they were kids. But in this man's eyes, his heart held only Li Tiana. Back then, after becoming pregnant, she brought the test results to find him saying that she could be his mistress, but he didn't show the slightest bit of mercy and chased her away, saying he wouldn't do anything to wrong his wife. Liu Li really had no other choice, so she could only go find Li Tianya and cry and plead until she was allowed to stay in the Lin house. For so many years, Lin Zhen, Nan had never spoken much to her, and to Lin Wu he treated him like heir. Thank goodness she had swapped the two children. Liu Li bowed her head, suppressing the glint of victory in her eyes. Lin Zhenan would never know that the son he always claimed to be his and Li Tianya's, whom he pampered like a treasure, the Lin Fan whom he had loved for so many years, was actually her own son. As for Lin Wu, he deserved to be ignored and crushed. Madam Lin stubbornly shook her head. Zhenan, Lin Fan is wrong. Wrong is wrong. The whole family should go apologize to Lin Wu. Lin Zhenan snorted coldly. Apologize for what? My son has to apologize to Liu Li's son? Liu Li, also hurriedly, said, no need, no need. The Lin family raised him, which is a great favor. Teaching him is just a matter of course. Madam Lin looked at them and sighed softly, but she did not argue any further. Wait until Lin Fan brought her back to the room. Madam Lin spoke up. Tomorrow, if you have time, I'll take you to see Lin Wu to apologize. Lin Fan's face suddenly stiffened. Didn't you want to take Shen Xin to see Dr. Wu? Go together tomorrow then. Lin Fan's eyes instantly lit up. He hugged her arm. Yes, Mom. Mom is still the best to me. After he left, Madam Lin looked toward Nanny Nam. Over these years, my health hasn't been good, so my guidance hasn't been good, resulting in Lin Fan becoming like this. It's really my fault. Madam, you're overthinking it, young master. Lin Fan is very filial and thoughtful. Small flaws can be corrected later. Madam Lin wore a bitter smile. Lin Wu never lied. She started coughing violently. Guided by Nanny Nam, she walked toward the bed. That secret still weighed so heavily, it made her unable to breathe. The next day, from the moment I woke up, this morning I felt a bit nervous. It had been 15 years since I last saw Madam Lin. I didn't know if when she saw me she would be happy or angry. At noon, I returned home to change clothes. The old lady told Shen Yusuo to take her home. The two of them stepped out of the hospital room. Just as they reached the lobby, they saw Liu Kuang approaching. Shen Yusuo nodded at him. Liu Kuang handed me a piece of paper. Young Master Lin, you can look through this. On it is listed a list of professors specializing in new energy from famous universities in the country. I looked at Liu Kuang suspiciously. These are all professors even more famous than Professor Wen. You can choose one to continue your graduate studies. This is compensation from the boss for canceling your direct graduate program admission. Young Master Lin, meeting our boss. You can also consider it a blessing in disguise. The corner of my mouth twitched. No need. So you want to be a graduate student under Dr. Wu? Liu Kuang frowned. This is a bit difficult. Dr. Wu is very famous right now. That genius professor only recruits genius students. You don't stand a chance of catching his eye. How about you stop being so picky? At most, after you graduate, you can go find Dr. Wu. You go find Dr. Wu to study for a PhD. I looked at him like looking at an idiot. I glanced at him and directly said to Shen Yusuo, Miss Shen, no need to see me off. I can catch a cab back by myself. Shen Yusuo stared in the direction I left, suddenly saying to Liu Chuang, In that case, help him contact Dr. Wu. What? Lu Kuang was dazed. In front of the private restaurant, Madame Lin had arrived early, bringing along Lin Fan and Shen Xin. Shen Xin pushed open the private room door, and what caught her eyes was the tall back of a man pouring tea. Hello, Dr. Wu. I'm Shen Xin from the Shen Group. Very nice to meet you. I turned my head, a playful look on my face. Lin Wu, why are you here? I should be the one asking you that question. My tone was very relaxed. Shen Xin's face darkened completely. Rest assured, this time I didn't come to look for you. Where's Dr. Wu? Where is he? I didn't say anything. Madame Lin walked in, leading Lin Fan inside. Seeing me, Madame Lin's eyes turned red. You are Lin Wu. My heart stirred slightly. Madam, have you been well lately? Very well, Lin Wu. What about you? I heard from your father that you got married. Madame Lin held my hand tightly, not letting go, exclaiming with endless emotion. A malicious flash appeared in Lin Fan's eyes. Lin Wu, I should have invited you to have a meal with us. But you're working part-time, so it's probably inconvenient, right? Later, we'll give you some extra cash, bro. Consider it a little support for your life. Watch your mouth. Madame Lin spoke up to scold him, then hurriedly looked over at me. Lin Wu, today we have an appointment with Dr. Wu. You also work in the new energy field, right? Get to know each other a bit. It will be helpful for your future. Lin Fan was afraid I'd steal his connections. 2443. Holding a cup of piping hot tea, he walked over to my side. Lin Wu. He walked over to my side holding a piping hot teacup. Lin Wu. Yesterday, Mom told me to apologize to you. I'll offer you a cup of tea instead of wine as a toast. After saying that, he loosened his fingers and the hot tea was about to spill all over me. I leaned sideways to dodge. The teacup bounced back onto Lin Fan instead, scalding him as he screamed, Lin Wu, I know you hate me. But how could you do this? He cried out in grievance, shouting. I lowered my eyes, pretending to be innocent. My bad. I didn't see you. Shen Xin angrily barked at me. Lin Wu, is that how you act as a waiter? You hurt. A guest, hurry up and call your manager out here. I'm going to lodge a complaint against you. All right. Madame Lin was protecting me. We're all family here, mom's sister. Shen Xin is already angry. How about we let Lin Wu go outside first, just to avoid another conflict? Madame Lin looked at me apologetically. Lin Wu, when you have time, come home more often to visit. Next time there's a chance, I'll take you to meet Dr. Wu. Lin Fan hurriedly changed the subject. Mom, why hasn't Dr. Wu arrived yet? Haven't I already arrived? The three people in the room simultaneously looked toward me. Madame Lin was just about to press for answers when she suddenly coughed violently, then fainted right onto the dining table. Madam, I instinctively tried to support her, but was forcefully pushed away by Lin Fan. Get lost. What did you do to my mom? Mom, wake up. The ambulance will be here soon. I wanted to get into the ambulance, but was tightly grabbed by Shen Xin. You ungrateful wretch, get far away from Madame Lin. If you make her so angry that something happens to her, I won't let you off. I caught a taxi and followed closely behind to the hospital. The hallway was completely packed with people, and there wasn't a single empty bed left. Shen Yusuo saw this scene from upstairs, so she instructed Liu Chuang to help the Lin family young master arrange a ward. The receptionist received the call and immediately reported, a VIP room just happens to be vacant. Lin Fan was overjoyed. Sister Shen Xin, you really know your way around. Shen Xin silently accepted this credit. The group of people entered the ward. I also intended to follow them, but was blocked at the door by Lin Fan. Lin Wu, my mom needs peace and quiet to rest. Don't you dare disturb her. With a bang, the door slammed shut. I stood there dazed on the spot, my heart burning with anxiety. Yet I didn't even have the right to step inside. I could only sit down on the long bench. Not long after, a rush of hurried footsteps approached. Lin Jianan charged into the ward with a face full of anxiety. After confirming Madame Lin was out of danger, he dragged Lin Fan outside the door. Lin Jianan frowned and asked, what is going on? She was perfectly fine. Why did she suddenly faint? Lin Fan looked toward where I was sitting nearby. It's because of Lin Wu. He insisted on getting to know Dr. Wu, and after a few arguments with Sister Shen Xin, he made Mom so angry that she ended up like this. Lin Jianan instantly glared at me in rage. You rebellious son. Without saying another word, he swung his arm to slap my face. I didn't dodge. My mind was completely filled with the pale face of Madame Lin. Perhaps just as Lin Fan said, my appearance originally was already her misfortune. The expected pain didn't hit me. I opened my eyes, only to see a cold figure blocking right in front of me. Shen Yusuo stood there, as if holding up the sky for me. Lin Jianan panicked. Miss Shen, you doing this is Mr. Lin originally. I shouldn't interfere. But right now, Grandma likes him very much. If she sees injuries on young Master Lin's faces, she will be very sad. Shen Yusuo's voice was low and pleasant. Lin Jianan immediately said it was my lack of consideration. From inside the ward came Madame Lin's coughing sound. Lin Jianan and Lin Fan immediately went inside. I stood at the door, hesitating for a long time. hearing her weak voice drifting out. I'm fine. Don't worry. It's been a long time since I've had a good sleep. Fainting just now actually felt quite comfortable. Only now did my heart relax a little. Shen Yuseo asked, not going in, not for now? Otherwise, it'll just be another war of words, disturbing Madame Lin's rest, I softly said. Just as I turned around, the old lady came over guided by the butler. I heard my grandson-in-law's mother was hospitalized, so I came to check on her. I supported her arm. Grandma, Madame Lin isn't my mother. Could it be that I got it wrong? The old lady took out her phone, found a group photo, and handed it to her grandson-in-law. This is a photo you sent me before, saying it was you and your mother. Could it be that the person in the ward isn't the person in the photo? I suddenly froze. In the photo, Madame Lin and I were sitting by the sea, smiling brightly, looking exactly like a mother and son. But since leaving the Lin family, I had never met her again. How could there be a photo together? I zoomed in on the photo, discovering a clue. This was a clumsy Photoshop job. When did I send this to you? The old lady shook her head, saying she didn't remember clearly. Then how did I send it to you? Via email or text message? She continued to shake her head, completely unable to remember. I felt a bit helpless, but the old lady's attitude was very firm. Grandson-in-law, she is indeed your mother. You absolutely cannot abandon your mother. After seeing the old lady off, Shen Yusuo stood in the hallway. Lu Tuang quickly walked over to report. Boss, it has been investigated clearly. The Lin family young master went to work part-time at that private restaurant, then happened to bump into the Lin family. Shen Yusuo's voice was cold. Does the Shen group pay him too little? Otherwise, why would he run outside to work part-time? It's not a little, it was arranged for him by the old madam. Maybe the manager gave him a job that's too difficult, so he's worried about being fired. But Shen Yusuo felt things weren't that simple. What were the Lin family doing at that private restaurant? They had an appointment to meet Dr. Wu. Miss Shen went there precisely because of that matter. And what about Dr. Wu? In the end, he didn't show up. Deep in Shen Yusuo's eyes, a light flashed, as a ridiculous thought crossed her mind. Inside the ward, after arresting Madame Lin's, spirit was much better. Lin Fan told Shen Xin to go home first. Lin Fan's face was full of awkwardness. Shen Xin staying here was purely to wait for Dr. Wu. Madame Lin suddenly realized, give me my phone. We missed the appointment today. We should also explain things clearly to Dr. Wu. After Madame Lin finished scheduling a new time, Lin Fan finally saw Shen Xin to the door. In the hallway, Lin Fan said, Sister Shen Xin, don't worry, there definitely won't be any issues with Dr. Wu. Right now, I'm at the Shen group. The research department of the group has a few stubborn guys who refuse to submit. As long as we can invite Dr. Wu to join, I will be considered to have achieved a major success, gaining a solid foothold. So Dr. Wu is very important to me. You must definitely convince him. The two stepped into the elevator. I stepped out from the corner and pushed open the ward door. Lin Zhenan's face instantly darkened completely. What are you still doing here? Is that Lin Wu outside? Hurry up and let him in. Madame Lin's gentle voice rang out. Lin Zhenan warned me not to make Madame angry again. I already told you, it wasn't Lin Wu's fault today. It's just that I haven't been sleeping well lately. Madame Lin gently chided. She held my hand. This child must have been scared today, right? Her hand was very warm. I smiled and said, no, I wasn't. You must come home often to visit me in the future, along with your wife too. Your father said she is a nobody, but I don't believe it. Lin Wu, since you were a child, your judgment of people has been very good and you have a mind of your own. The person you chose must have her merits. Bring her here sometime so I can meet her. The bridge of my nose felt stung. Yes, ma'am. She started coughing violently again. I took out a plastic bottle. This is cough medicine I asked someone to buy for me. Whenever you can't sleep at night, take one pill. Madame Lin nodded in acknowledgement. As I left the ward, I heard Lin Zhenan inside grumbling disdainfully. How could you be brought over by a medicine bottle, prescribed by who knows what tiny clinic? He casually tossed the medicine bottle into the trash can. Late at night, Madame Lin was woken up by her cough again. Suffering for so long, she even had suicidal thoughts, as if possessed. 2649. She picked up the medicine bottle from the trash can and took one pill, and picked the medicine bottle out of the trash can and took a pill. One instant cooling sensation covered her itchy throat. She dazed off and fell into a deep sleep. At 10 a.m. the next morning, Madame Lin was woken up by Lin Zhenan. She didn't expect she would sleep straight through until morning. Madam, the sleeping pills the doctor gave yesterday really worked. You've slept for a full 10 hours. Nanny Nam was so excited her eyes turned red. What sleeping pills? Madame Lin was dazed. Nanny Nam looked toward Lin Fan. It was Miss Shen Sin who found them for you, madam. She specially found a strong dosage of sleeping pills to mix into your other medications. Who knew it would actually be effective? Madame Lin paused for a moment. She felt her throat was much clearer now. Her gaze landed on the unlabeled plastic bottle next to her pillow. Lin Jinan was very satisfied with his future daughter-in-law. Everyone praised this daughter-in-law for being so good. I heard the inpatient area has been fully booked lately. It was Shensin who pulled a lot of strings to arrange this ward. Thanks to her this time, Lin Fan pushed his advantage. Mom, Sister Shenshin is so filial to you, you should also give her a helping hand. The family wants Sister Shenshin to manage the research department, but those researchers refuse to submit. If we can invite Dr. Wu to be an external technical consultant to support Sister Shenshin, then she can secure a solid foothold in the company. Madam Lin hesitated for a moment. All right, let me ask Dr. Wu and see. But if he doesn't agree, then let it go. Lin Fan looked smug. In his eyes, as long as Madam Lin spoke up, Dr. Wu had never refused. Madam Lin took out her phone, found Dr. Wu's profile picture, weighed her words for a bit, and sent a message. Xiao Wu, are you free? I'd like to ask you for a favor. When I received the message, I had just brought the old lady back downstairs from a walk. I frowned. Why was Madam Lin looking for me? Could it be that there was an issue with yesterday's medicine? That medicine was still in the clinical trial stage. Seeing her severely ill, I had taken it out ahead of schedule. My heart was anxious. I asked the caregiver to take the old lady back to her room, and then hurriedly ran over to Madame Lin's side. In no time, I arrived at the ward, finding Shensin and Liu Li both there. The happy chatting and laughing suddenly ceased the exact moment I stepped inside. I felt like an outsider. Seeing that Madame Lin was all right, I hurriedly lowered my head and prepared to leave. Liu Li spoke up again. Well, if it isn't young Master Lin, what's wrong now that you've climbed onto a high branch like old Madame Shen? Does that mean people of our class don't even catch your eye anymore? I turned around wanting to leave, but I was tightly grabbed by her. I heard that right now you are putting all your effort into sucking up to old Madame Shen, waiting on her all night, carrying the bedpan and taking out the trash. Do you think people will actually treat you like a real grandson? You're daydreaming in broad daylight. You're nothing more than a plaything to them. Lin Fan hurriedly said, Mom, don't say that. Old Madame Shen thinks very highly of Lin Wu. Liu Li raised her voice, thinks highly of him. My foot. Miss Shen Shin, thinking highly of our Lin Fan. Now that's what you call appreciation. She looked at Shen Shin with a flattering expression. I heard that yesterday there were originally no empty wards left, and even families with net worths of tens of millions had to line up. It was all thanks to Miss Shen Shin's help that Madam was able to stay in this VIP room. Shen Shin looked at me, smiling modestly. My cousin doesn't know about this. Otherwise, she probably would have helped too. I only contributed a little bit of effort. Even if Miss Shen knew, she wouldn't even care about you. Liu Li mocked me again. No matter how much you suck up to them, they will only treat you like a cat or a dog. Understand? I clenched, my fist tightly, not wanting to argue inside the ward. Shen Yusho had just arrived outside the door and heard every single word of this, her expression freezing cold. Liu Kuang instantly understood his boss's intent, so he cleared his throat and stepped into Madame Lin's room. I'm here on behalf of President Shen to pay a visit. Is this ward comfortable for you to stay in? The room fell deathly silent. Everyone looked toward Shen Shin, who had a completely stunned expression. Liu Li was dazed, then immediately smiled and said, Miss Shen Shin, so it turns out you asked Miss Shen to arrange this ward. Shen Shin's face stiffened. Liu Kuang smiled again and said, this was arranged by our boss at Mr. Lin's request. Miss Shen Shin, did you also look for my boss? Shen Shin was so embarrassed she wanted to find a hole to crawl into. At that time, I made a lot of phone calls and looked for quite a few people. It was my misunderstanding. Lin Ye Fan now only felt so ashamed he wanted to vanish. Madam Lin broke the bizarre atmosphere. Thank you, Miss Shen. The conditions here are very good. Once my health gets a bit better, I will go visit the old madam. Liu Kuang said, as long as you find it comfortable here, Mr. Lin, doesn't need to worry. Our old madam will be very pleased. These words were clearly elevating my status. The several people in the room all had heavy hearts, while Madam Lin was genuinely happy. I looked toward Liu Li, my gaze full of sarcasm, which made her so angry she became humiliated. You brat, what are you so smug about? Shut up, Lin Zhenin angrily barked. Madam is sick and needs quiet. What are you barking around here for? Get the hell back home. Liu Li gave me a resentful glare, covered her face, and ran off. I looked toward the hospital bed. Madam, how did you sleep last night, madam? Lin instinctively gripped the small medicine bottle under the blanket. I slept very well. It's been a very long time since I've slept this well. Then that's great. I'll take my leave first. Liu Chuang and I walked out the door. Shen? Yusua was leaning against the hallway wall, checking her phone. The light reflected off her elegant profile. Seeing me come out, she spoke up. Grandma wasn't at ease, so she insisted on having me, personally, come check. Though her tone was somewhat distant, my heart tightened slightly. Just then, the ward door opened. Shen Xin and Lin Fan stepped outside. Seeing me and Shen Yusuo standing next to each other, Lin Fan looked as if he had encountered a formidable enemy. Shen Xin subconsciously questioned, why are you here? Shen Yusuo's gaze was cold. My whereabouts don't seem to require a report to you. The powerful aura made Shen Xin's palms break into a sweat. She looked at me with envy. Young Master Lin, since you're always staying at the hospital taking care of the old lady like this, doesn't your wife mind? I was slightly amused, glanced at Shen Yusuo, then flashed a half smile. She probably doesn't mind. Shensin's expression warped with rage. Shen Yusuo suddenly spoke up, go inside the ward. Grandma's waiting for you. I smiled and replied, alright, let's go. We turned around and left, leaving Shen Xin behind with a malicious glare. When she returned to Madame Lin's ward to tidy up the blankets, she suddenly cried out in shock, why is there a medicine bottle on the bed? Lin Zhenan frowned. Isn't this that unlabeled medicine that Lin Wu brought? That's right. Why did anyone pick it up and bring it here? Last night, I took a pill and felt like it actually worked, Madame Lin explained. How could that be? Clearly, the sleeping pills were the ones that worked. Lin Zhenan snatched the medicine bottle. Who knows where he bought this junk medicine? What if taking it wrecks your body? Don't take that tonight, and we'll see. Let's see which medicine is actually working. Late at night, Madame Lin had another severe, uncontrollable coughing fit. Nanny, Nan brought over the sleeping pills praised as a miracle drug, but found they had absolutely no effect. Madame Lin coughed until her entire face turned flush red. After that, Nanny Nam rushed outside to fetch Lin Wu's medicine bottle back. Just as she was about to give her the medicine, Lin Fan held her hand back. Mom, your cough got worse. Could it be caused by this medicine? It's best not to take medicine from unknown sources. Lin Zhenan also angrily said that Lin Wu is truly something. You treated him so well, yet he dares to bring medicine to harm you. Madame Lin coughed so much she was speechless, staring intently at Nanny Nam. Nanny Nam was originally very loyal. Enduring the pressure, she popped the pill into Madame's mouth. The coughing fit stopped instantly. Madame Lin let out a sigh of relief, confirming that Lin Wu's medicine was the one that worked. The group walked out to the outer room. Lin Fan's face turned pale. Dad, Lin Wu actually managed to buy target-specific medicine? What capability does he have? It must have been Miss Shen who bought it for him. Lin Zhenan frowned. It seems old Madame Shen really thinks very highly of him. Inside the VIP ward, Shen Yusuo was sitting and chatting with Grandma. What did you have for lunch today? The old lady thought for a long time. White porridge. It wasn't noodles, right, you brat? Shen Yusuo smiled and nodded, but her heart felt heavy. For lunch, they clearly had rice, yet Grandma had already forgotten. Her memory seemed to be declining, more and more severely by the day. Lin Wu suddenly spoke up lazily. Grandma, what color were Miss Shen's earrings yesterday? The old lady immediately replied, purple. This girl is the most particular, she even wore diamond cufflinks. What about the day before? The day before was ocean blue. That pair of blue earrings was actually bought for her by me. Lin Wu smiled and looked at Shen Yusuo with deep meaning. The things you care about, you remember very clearly. Shen Yusuo looked toward Lin Wu. He was curled up on the sofa, lazily playing with his phone, looking totally relaxed. Those words just now were meant to comfort her. Her anxious heart gradually calmed down. The old lady suddenly smiled. Grandson-in-law, everything I just said was correct, right? I nodded and said yes. See that, you brat? Grandson-in-law even remembers clearly. What you wear every day, this means he has you in his heart. I was stunned. I just happened to have a photographic memory. I really didn't intentionally memorize it. Just as I was about to explain, I saw Shen Yusuo staring intently at her laptop, completely ignoring me. What I didn't notice was that the tips of her ears had turned slightly red. I continued studying the files on my phone. The refinement process for the Alzheimer's medication still had no breakthroughs. I stood up to take a short walk. Just as I went downstairs to walk the dog, someone suddenly patted me on the shoulder. I turned my head to look, and it turned out to be Liu Li along with her gambling-addicted younger brother, my uncle Liu Yaoguang, good nephew. Long time no see. I took a step back. What are you doing here? Didn't I hear that my nephew has managed to cling on to the Shen family? Lately, your uncle is really tight on cash. Can you lend me a little money? I cold smiled and said, I don't have money. You serve that old woman so thoroughly. Hasn't she given you any cash? I lowered my eyes. Currently, she hasn't given any. In the future, she probably will give a little. Don't stand there smiling like a cheapskate. When the time comes, you must definitely lend it to your uncle. If you give me a lot, your uncle can tell you a secret. He smirked and then walked away. I snorted disdainfully. Just then my phone rang. I picked it up to check, and it turned out to be Madame Lin calling. At this moment, in another ward, Lin Fan saw that Dr. Wu still hadn't replied to the text message. Shen Xin was rushing him again, so taking advantage of the fact that Madame Lin was fast asleep, he stole her phone. He found the name Xiao Wu in the contacts list and directly dialed. The call connected. I spoke in a cold voice. Hello, Madame Lin. Is something the matter? Lin Fan suddenly froze. Lin Wu. His eyes went wide with shock. This voice, he absolutely could not mistake it. My heart sank, my voice turning even colder. Lin Fan, what are you doing holding Madame Lin's phone? Is this your phone number? He was a bit flustered. What nonsense are you talking? Only now did Lin Fan snap out of it and realize Lin Wu's name also had the word Wu, madam. Lin would occasionally still call him Xiao Wu. He breathed a sigh of relief. Lin Fan cast off his mask since it was just the two of them. He venomously said, I just want to tell you, even if you're riding on old Madam Shen's coattails to cling onto Miss Shen, at most you're just a plaything. Miss Shen already has a husband. But I am different. In the future, I will marry Sister Shen Shen and become the rightful son-in-law of the Shen family. Congratulations. In a wealthy family, you don't just talk about feelings. In my hands, I'm currently holding a trump card, which is Dr. Wu. So I will forever be invincible. He hung up the phone. The corner of my mouth twitched. Since when? Did I become Lin Fan's main general right after that? Dr. Wu's WeChat. Under Madam Lin's name rang. It was Lin Fan again. I turned on my voice changer and picked up. Lin Fan's tone was extremely respectful. Hello, Dr. Wu. Pardon the intrusion, sir. I am Lin Fan, the son of Madam Li Tianya. The Shen Group wants to invite you to join their research team. My mother also shares this intention. I wonder if you're interested. Sir, I coldly interrupted. I am only responsible for companies under Madam Lin's name. After saying that, I hung up immediately. Time skipped to Monday. I went back to the Shen Group to work. Just as I stepped out of the hospital and was about to hail a cab, a Bentley pulled up right next to me. Shen Yuseo looked straight ahead and said, Get in. Grandma told me to drive you to work. Shen Yuseo glanced at me, wanting to take a photo of me. I stepped into the back seat. She held up her phone to take a selfie of the two of us. I flashed a peace sign and smiled brightly. Shen Yuseo suddenly dazed off a bit. Arriving at the company, I went straight to the archive room on the 60th floor. At this time, the R&D department was announcing personnel changes. Shen Xin was promoted to deputy general manager. The reason was because she had successfully invited Dr. Wu. In the rooftop office, the secretary was reporting my movements. His purpose for entering the Shen Group is precisely to look up files. He has been in the library for the entire morning and hasn't had lunch yet. Shen Yusuo's eyes flickered, and she went downstairs alone to look for me. In front of the neurology section bookshelf, I was climbing a ladder to get a document from the top shelf. After getting the book, my heart was filled with joy. Beyond measure, I slipped and fell down, landing right on top of Shen Yusuo. It was actually her. I quickly stood up. Sorry, I didn't mean to just now. Shen Yusuo composed herself a bit before standing up, the tips of her ears burning red, but she pretended not to care. The atmosphere was a bit awkward, so I casually made up an excuse and slipped away. Before leaving, I took that important book and hid it in a corner where no one would notice. In the afternoon, I returned to the library, only to find the book had disappeared. My head was full of question marks. Right after that, I realized that in the entire company, there was only one person who could just casually take the book away. On the rooftop, Shen Yusuo was flipping through that profound neurology book, her eyebrows tightly furrowed. Liu Kuang was rambling next to her. Honestly, that Lin Wu guy really doesn't know what's good for him. He didn't come here to work at all? Yeah, he originally didn't come to work. Shen Yuseo casually replied. Liu Kuang asked, Do we need to return? This book. Shen Yuseo's fingertips lightly tapped on the book. Thinking of my expectant, flirtatious eyes from today, her heart suddenly felt a strange stir. No need for now. At clockout time, the Bentley was parked in the underground parking lot. Liu Kuang asked, Boss, shall we go? No rush. Shen Yuseo held the thick document in her hand. Not until I got into the car did she look up and say, Let's go. Liu Kuang was a bit dazed. The boss didn't seem to have made plans to go with young Master Lin. Returning to the hospital just as we reached the VIP ward, we heard Liu Li's flattering voice. Old madam, I specially came to visit you. Speaking of which, we really share a bond. Old Madam Shen blocked the door and glared at her. Get out. If you don't leave, I'll have someone beat you. Liu Li smiled awkwardly. I am Lin Wu's mother. Old madam, don't you like him the most? For his sake, you shouldn't treat me like this. You're not his mother, old madam. Shen stated with absolute certainty. Madam Lin is his real mother. Liu Li instantly broke into a cold sweat. Terrified, she subconsciously asked back, How do you know? The matter of swapping the children was only known to her and her brother Liu Yaoguang. On what grounds was old Madam Shen so certain? Seeing me and Shen Yuseo approaching, Liu Li got guilty in tone. Sit down. She walked up to me, handing over a thermos. Lin Wu, Mom came to bring you chicken soup. Taking care of the old madam must be exhausting. Eat more to nourish your health. I only found it ridiculous and coldly asked, What do you want? Is it still because of that measly 2% shares old Madam Shen thinks so highly of you? If you speak up, she will definitely agree to help your brother. Otherwise, in front of Shen Xin, he won't even be able to hold his head up. My eyes turned cold as I said, I won't help. Liu Li's face stiffened, and she plopped right down on the ground, crying out, Fine. I went through so much hardship to give birth to you, and yet, the moment you climb high, you turn your back on me. Everyone come look at this. This son of mine is truly an ungrateful wolf. He claims this mother of his is of low birth, and wants to go be someone else's grandson. The people around started gesturing and gossiping. I looked at her nonchalantly, the feeling of helplessness in my heart growing heavier. If you keep making a scene and disrupting others' rest, the security guards will escort you out. After saying that, I walked straight past her. Liu Li flew into a rage. You ungrateful wretch. She suddenly jumped up and threw the bowl of chicken soup hard at me. Careful. A pair of cool hands pulled me into an embrace. Shen Yusio shielded my back, taking the entirety of that hot soup from me. My pupils contracted as I hurriedly asked, "Are you okay?" "I'm fine." Her eyebrows slightly knitted as she looked at Liu Li, who was running away in terror. Entering the ward, the old lady anxiously pulled at her clothes. "Hurry up and take it off so I can see how badly you're burned, Yimtio. Are there blisters? Does it hurt?" "Grandson-in-law, hurry over and apply medicine for her." The old lady shoved a medicine bottle into my hand and chased everyone else out of the room. "Grandson-in-law, I'm leaving her to you." Only the two of us were left in the ward. Shen Yusio softly said, "Grandma is just making a fuss. Let me call." "Let me do it." I walked up behind her. The twilight sun shone on her back. My fingertips dipped into some ointment, and I gently applied it on her without uttering a single word throughout the entire process. Until the medicine was fully applied, she adjusted her hair and said, "Young Master Lin, thank you. Don't mention it. Actually, you didn't need to shield me. If you get hurt, Grandma will be very sad." Shen Yusio stared intently at me. "Have you forgotten? Right now, you are my husband." My heartbeat suddenly skipped a beat. I always felt that the current Shen Yusio seemed a little different. "Well, I'm going out for a bit." "To do what?" "To get payback." I originally planned to look for Liu Li, but instead caught Lin Fan and his uncle Liu Yao Guang in the hallway. Liu Yao Guang rubbed his hands together. "Nephew, your uncle is really tight on cash lately." Lin Fan suppressed his anger. "This month's allowance? I already gave it to you. Either way, I can't survive anyway. If you don't give me the money, I will spill the truth." He knew the guy would definitely give a large sum. I pushed open the door and stepped inside, my voice cold. "What truth?" Lin Fan jumped in shock. "Lin Wu, what do you think you're doing? Why are you eavesdropping on our conversation?" I looked straight at Liu Yaoguang. "Go on, what truth?" "I can give you the money." "How much can you give, Liu Yao?" Guang's eyes lit up instantly. Lin Fan panicked. "The money you want, I'll find a way to give it to you. You can scram now." Before leaving, Liu Yao Guang lowered his voice and said to me, "Nephew, this secret of mine is forever valid for you. As long as you offer a high enough price, I will definitely sell it to you." I sent a message to Gui Yue, check into Liu Yao Guang's situation. Turning my head, I saw Lin Fan about to leave. I nonchalantly said, "If you don't want others to know, the best way is to not do it. This matter between you and Liu Yao Guang, do you think I can't find out?" Lin Fan paused in his tracks. "What are you talking about? I don't understand. Just what kind of dirt does he have on you that forces you to give him money every single month? What total nonsense. I advise you, if you still have the energy, you'd better worry about finding a way out for yourself. Stop wasting time on me." "Where is Liu Li?" "She's your mother after all." "You're asking me, so how should I know?" Lin Fan quickly ran off. I called Liu Li. "I want you to come back and apologize to Miss Shen." "I'm not going back. Miss Shen won't let me off." "Apologize for me. You're my son. What the mother owes, the son must repay. It's only natural. If that's the case, don't blame me for calling the police." "Why are you calling the police?" "I'm your mother. The one I wanted to hit was you." "A mother beating her child is entirely justified by natural law." I directly hung up on Liu Li. Liu Li was finally detained for 48 hours before being released. Returning to the ward, Shen Yusuo was having a meeting in her RV downstairs. I sat by the bedside without leaving. Grandma patted my hand. "Grandson-in-law, we're all one family. Why say all this? Besides, seeing that brat protect you, this old lady couldn't be happier." The phrase "one family" made the rims of my eyes turn a bit hot. At this time, Lin Fan had already scraped together $50,000 to give to Liu Yaoguang and threatened, "Keep your mouth shut. Otherwise, neither of us will end up with a good conclusion." His heart was full of terror. He just wanted to marry Shen Xin as quickly as possible. As long as I become the son-in-law of the Shen family, even if my identity is exposed, I will still have a way out. At 9 p.m., Shen Xin suddenly sought out Lin Fan. Lin Fan was overjoyed. "Sister Shen Xin, why did you come here?" Shen Xin asked with a serious expression. "About Dr. Wu. Are you absolutely sure you've already finished discussing things with him?" Lin Fan's gaze dodged guiltily. "Of course." "Then arrange for me to meet Dr. Wu for a bit?" Lin Fan anxiously clenched his fingers. "Dr. Wu went abroad. Once he comes back, I'll arrange it immediately." "Sister Shen Xin, is there any problem you need resolved? Let me help you contact him." Shen Xin looked at him with suspicion. "I already sent the problem to your inbox. Send it to Dr. Wu and ask him to help. Solve it. I'll forward it to him right away." Lin Fan had already memorized the password to Madame Lin's inbox. He discovered that Dr. Wu always replied to Madame Lin's emails in a split second, and never asked any further questions, which was why he dared to lie. He operated on his phone, instantly forwarding it. Doctor, what usually replies to my messages right away. Sister Shenshin, please wait a moment. Inside the VIP ward, my phone buzzed. I glanced at it. It was an email sent by Madam Lin. Xiao Wu, can you help solve this problem? In the attachment, it was naturally a difficult technical problem from the Shen group. I snorted disdainfully. Lin Fan actually used Madam Lin's name to ask for my help. I coldly replied, I am only responsible for the Lin family. Problems of the Shen group do not fall within my scope of management. The notification sound on Lin Fan's end rang out. He excitedly opened the email. The moment he saw the content clearly, his smile instantly froze. Shensin frowned and asked, what's wrong? Lin Fan suppressed his anxiety and forced a smile saying, Dr. Wu said that. This problem will take a few days to solve. Shensin breathed a sigh of relief. That's normal. This problem is indeed a bit difficult. I've made a bet with Lin Wu's team. We must present a plan before Friday. Is that going to be an issue? No issue. Lin Fan's gaze showed embarrassment again. Shensin returned to the Shen family home. Her father, Shen Yuanjie, rarely flashed a smile at her. You truly are. My good daughter actually being able to invite Dr. Wu to secure a foothold in the research department so quickly. Her mother, Liu Meizhen, also cried tears of joy. Shen Xin clenched her fists. Since she had chosen this path of political marriage, she would absolutely not regret it, and Lin Fan could only belong to her. On the other side, I sneezed and then continued burying my head in work. The water glass was empty. The view in front of me suddenly went dark. Shen Yusuo poured a glass of water and placed it on the small tea table. I was slightly dazed. Thanks. Don't mention it. Shen Yusuo did it casually, then naturally sat back in her old spot. The old lady looked at us smiling from ear to ear. She had already started flipping through the dictionary to name the baby. The next day, Shen Xin blocked me in the rest area of the research department. Tonight, there's an industry networking event for new energy. Those who can attend are all big shots. In the industry, I heard Dr. Wu might also attend. I didn't stop walking. So what? The research department of the Shen Group has an invitation. I can take you there to broaden your horizons and network with more people. No need, thanks. I didn't even bother, turning my head back and walked straight into the office. Team leader Lin Anqiao sneered. Do you think a single invitation can bribe him? Lin Wu hasn't reached such a short-sighted level yet. Shensin's face turned cold. You should understand clearly. I can bring him better resources. That kind of party, do you think just any random class of people can attend? At least I can take him along. At clock out, Time Lin Anqiao called me back. Tonight I have some business. Come with me. I didn't think too much of it, sent a text about working overtime to Shen Yusuo, then got into her car to head to the party entrance. The waiter blocked Team Leader Lin instead. Sorry, Team Leader Lin. The people from the Shen group arriving today have all been reported to us in advance. Your name is not on the list. Shensin walked out holding a champagne glass. She lowered her eyes to look at Team Leader Lin. The research team is busy with development tasks. I assumed you wouldn't come. So when reporting the list, I declined it for you. Now, if you want to add your name, I'm afraid it's too late. You'd better go back. Team Leader Lin flew into a rage. Shen, you're really crossing the line. On what grounds do you dare to arbitrarily decline? On my behalf, I'm the Deputy Director of the R&D Department. Of course, I can decide on your behalf. Shensin turned to look at me. Lin Wu, have you seen clearly now I agree with her? This gate you guys basically cannot enter at all. I nonchalantly raised my eyes to look. Is that so? I pulled out from my inbox the digital invitation that Gui Yue had sent over and handed it to the waiter. Can we enter now? The waiter only glanced at it and immediately, respectfully, made way. Please come in. Shensin's expression warped with shock. She stared intently at the official invitation on my phone. With what qualification did you get this invitation? What does it have to do with you? I turned off the screen and said to Lin Anqiao, let's go. Lin Anqiao was incredibly shocked and delighted. Leading me into the hall, she introduced me to the big shots in the industry. While we were exchanging pleasantries, Lin Fan and Shen Xin walked over. The seniors like President Lin, the moment they saw Lin Fan, immediately swarmed around him. Young Master Lin, when exactly will Dr. Wu show his face? So we can consult him a bit. Lin Fan enjoyed the popularity, putting on an assuming modest look. Today I'm just accompanying my fiancé. Shen Xin also took the chance to network and build relationships. Lin Anqiao was pushed to the sidelines, saying to me disappointedly, Gui Yue will be here in a moment. Don't be shy. Be a bit thick-skinned. Go over there and offer a toast to her. The people who want to get to know her are endless. The corner of my mouth twitched. In a moment, I'll introduce President Gui to you. Lin Anqiao thought I was just bragging. At this moment, there was a commotion at the door. Gui Yue is here. Lin Fan nonchalantly adjusted his suit and stepped toward me. Lin Wu, do you need me to introduce President Gui to you? Shen Xin also sneered. Do you think Gui Yue is the kind of woman who thirsts over guys? So many handsome guys chase after her, yet she doesn't even pay them any mind. Do you really think you're that attractive? Lin Fan led Shenzhen toward Gui Yue. President Gui, before he could finish his sentence, Gui Yue brushed past them like a strong gust of wind. Amidst the shocked gazes of the entire hall, she excitedly rushed right in front of me. Why are you here? This scene instantly caused the entire hall to fall into a dead silence. The hand that Lin Fan had extended froze midair. Before the smile on his face could even fade, it froze into a ridiculous look of terror. Shenzhen's jaw dropped even wider, the champagne glass in her hand almost falling down. President Gui, could it be that you recognize the wrong person? Lin Fan spoke up with a trembling voice. He is Lin Wu, just a useless freeloader, dependent on our family. Gui Yue didn't even bother to pay attention to him, only looking at me with bright eyes. Boss, I sent you dozens of emails inviting you to attend, but you always said you weren't free. Turns out you were hiding out here. I smiled helplessly. Just accompanying a leader to handle some private matters. Boss, Shenshin shrieked out, her voice completely changing. Gui Yue? You called him boss, isn't he just a scumbag? Freeloading off that thuggish wife of his. Gui Yue turned her head back with a cold face, her gaze sharp as a knife. Miss Shen, please respect yourself. The person standing right in front of you is the core technology expert that your Shen group couldn't get even if you begged. He is also the one who has never shown his face in the rumors. Dr. Wu, as soon as she finished speaking, a suppressed wave of gasps erupted from the crowd. Impossible. Lin Fan completely lost his composure. He pointed his finger at me and roared, the doctor has clearly always been in contact with my mother. How could he be this illegitimate son Lin Wu? Just what kind of favors did you give Gui Yue to make her act out this play with you? I stepped forward and looked down at him coldly. Lin Fan, you secretly took Madam Lin's phone to send those emails. Did you really think I wouldn't know? I am only responsible for the Lin family. Didn't you just receive that response? Lin Fan's face instantly went deathly pale. His legs went weak and he collapsed right on the spot. Shenzhen couldn't stand straight. She looked at me, her eyes full of regret and ridicule. She always thought I was struggling in the mud, which was why she wanted to use $50,000 to humiliate me. But in a blink of an eye, I became the god she had to look up to. Right at this moment, there was a commotion outside the door. Madam Lin, supported by Nanny Nam, actually walked in. Her complexion was ruddy and her steps were steady, completely stripped of her sickly look from yesterday. Lin Wu, Madam Lin walked straight toward me, her eyes welling up with tears. That's the medicine you personally researched, right, Bital? I nodded. Do you feel better? Much better. Madam Lin turned her head to look at Lin Zhenin and Liu Li, her voice cold yet resolute. Zhenin, didn't you always want to meet Dr. Wu? He's right here. Furthermore, my confidant Tranquille has already told me the truth about back then. Nanny Nam stepped forward and glared at Liu Li. Liu Li, did you think swapping? The babies at the hospital could be hidden for a lifetime, eh? All these years I've been investigating and observing. You're a woman too. Yet you didn't care about your biological son at all. Instead, you treated someone else's child abnormally well. That excessive care, I saw through it long ago. The DNA test report, I've already done it. He threw out a report sheet. Lin Jianan tremblingly picked it up. After seeing the results clearly, he abruptly turned his head and slapped Liu Li furiously across the face. You dared to use your bastard child to swap with my son? Liu Li let out a tragic shriek and completely broke down. Lin Fan looked at the report sheet, wailing in despair. No, I'm the oldest young master. Of the Lin family, I'm the heir. I coldly watched all of this. Wealthy status and blood ties, things that used to bind me, now in my eyes were as light as a feather. Boss, the car is ready, Gui Yue softly reminded. I turned around about to leave, but my hand was gently grabbed by someone. Shen Yusuo, without anyone noticing when, was already standing behind me. She had changed into an ink-black long dress, the wound on her back hidden under her clothes. The way she looked at me no longer had that coldness from before. Mr. Lin, she softly spoke, carrying a bit of dependence that even she herself didn't realize. Grandma is still at the hospital waiting for us to go home. I looked at her, and the softest spot deep in my heart skipped a beat. As we were about to head home, walking out of the banquet hall, Xin Xin rushed out, weeping miserably. Lin Wu, I was wrong. Can we go back to the college days like before? My footsteps didn't stop at all, not even bothering to turn around. I threw back a sentence. Miss Shen Yu once said an illegitimate son and a street rat are a match made in heaven. I think you and Lin Fan right now are truly a match made in heaven. Behind me was the sound of Shen Xin's despairing cries, while ahead was the brilliant night view of Hai Cheng in the car. Shen Yusuo, Suddenly asked me about that neurology book. When are you going to return it to me? I smirked at her. Is CEO Shen checking my movements? She turned her face to look out to the window, the tips of her ears slightly flushed. I'm just afraid this Dr. Wu will run away one day, and Grandma will tear the Shen group apart, I chuckled, helplessly, naturally putting my arm around her shoulder. This time, she didn't dodge at all. Rest assured the contract hasn't expired yet, and besides, Kinsol, this husband of yours hasn't officially become permanent yet. 3 months later, on the day when the clinical trial drug for Alzheimer's disease was successfully researched, Haicheng welcomed its first rain since autumn started. When I stepped out of the laboratory, I saw Shen Yusuo waiting at the door. In her hand, she held a black umbrella. She was wearing the outfit I had seen countless times. The ink-colored long dress. She seemed to have waited for a long time. A few tiny raindrops lingering on her hair. Grandma told me to pick you up. Her tone was still as indifferent as ever, but I could already tell from that, usually expressionless, face something a little bit unusual. The tips of her ears turned red again. I stepped forward naturally and took the umbrella, then pulled her closer to me under the umbrella canopy. CEO Shen personally coming to pick me up. I'm truly honored. She glanced at me, saying nothing but didn't dodge either. On the road back to the Shen family's ancestral home, she suddenly spoke up. About that divorce agreement? I turned my head to look at her. She paused for a moment, her gaze drifting past the rainy scenery rushing outside the window. Her voice was as soft as a whisper to herself. Grandma tore it up. I was dazed for a moment, then chuckled. Then what should we do? Shen Yusuo hesitated, rarely showing a hint of fluster. She said she went through so much trouble to find a grandson-in-law for herself, and we can't get a divorce. I didn't say anything, just quietly stared at her. She finally turned her head back, meeting my eyes. Outside the car window, the rain was still drizzling. Inside, it was so quiet we could clearly hear each other's breathing. Her eyes were very bright, as if holding all the starlight after the rain. Lin Wu, she called my name, her voice clear, yet carrying a tenderness that she herself didn't even notice. That medicine of yours is about to be used for Grandma. Tonight we'll begin the first course of treatment. She nodded, stayed silent for a while, and then said, thank you. I looked at her, suddenly wanting to tease her a bit. Just a verbal thank you. She was stunned, seemingly not expecting me to say that. That face, which had always been as cold as ice and snow, flashed with a hint of embarrassment. I chuckled and reached out to pat her head. Annoying, she glared at me, but didn't dodge my hand at all. The car stopped at the Shen estate. In front of the old villa's gate, the rain had stopped, and a streak of twilight appeared on the horizon. The old lady had been waiting at the door long ago. Seeing us get out of the car, she immediately welcomed us with a beaming smile. With one hand holding me and the other holding Shen Yusuo, she led us into the house. Hurry up, hurry up. Just. The whole family is waiting for the two of you to have dinner, and at the dining table, the old lady kept putting food into my bowl, then putting food into Shen Yusuo's bowl, muttering, grandson-in-law, eat more, you brat. Eat more too. Both of you have gotten thinner. Rarely, Shen Yusuo didn't talk back to the brat nickname, just quietly ate her food, occasionally raising her eyes to look at me. After dinner, Grandma pulled us to the yard to sit and drink tea. The sunset dyed the entire garden gold, and the air carried the scent of earth after the rain. The old lady suddenly said, grandson-in-law, you brat. Let me tell the two of you something. Shen Yusuo and I looked at her at the same time. The old lady smiled with narrowed eyes, but a gleam sparkled in her eyes. I remember. Now I remember how you two registered your marriage. I remember now, turns out. No. Our marriage certificate was entirely arranged by the old lady. We belong to the category of being forced to register without even knowing it. The old lady smiled warmly at me. Grandson-in-law. You won't blame me, right? I looked at Shen Yusuo, then looked back at the old lady, unable to help but smile. The old lady, satisfied, nodded gently, looked at the two of us, and said, so when do you two plan to hold the wedding? Shen Yusuo completely couldn't sit still anymore. She snapped, up planning to leave, but the old lady pulled her back. Hey, what are you doing? You're already married, so why are you still shy? I smiled as I watched this, feeling that this might just be the life I had always dreamed of. Shen Yusuo finally escaped from the old lady's grip, walked over to my side and whispered, let's go. I stood up to bid the old lady goodbye. She smiled, waved her hand with narrowed eyes, and secretly shoved a small note to me. Getting into the car, I opened the note. On it was written a line, grandson-in-law. If that brat bullies you, just tell me. I'll help you teach her a lesson. I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Shen Yusio leaned close to check it out. After reading it, she fell silent for 2 seconds and then said, "Grandma's handwriting is really beautiful." I turned my head to look at her and she met my gaze, suddenly asking Lin Wu, "What are you laughing at?" I looked at her and joked seriously, "My luck is just too good." She slightly paused for a moment. "It's like getting a wife without spending a single penny." I said, "Even though it was fake, now it seems like it's about to become real." She stared at me for a few seconds, then shifted her gaze out the car window. But I already saw a tiny salt curve at the corner of her lips. The car slowly rolled into the night, the lights of Haicheng drifting lazily outside the window. Shen Yusuo. I called her. "Do you have time tomorrow?" She turned her head to look at me and I looked back at her, a hint of a smile in my eyes. "Let's rewrite that divorce agreement." She fell silent for 2 seconds, then let out a soft The response was very quiet, yet heavier than any promise in this world. Outside the window, the night in Haicheng was gradually deepening, while I felt that this was only just the beginning.